Alright, we are live. So, I am Nicole. I'm new at Storm. This is my first time hosting the SYC live stream, and I'm here with Justin Knowles, and we will get this camera situation figured out. It's a bit low. Okay, that's a bit better. Alright, so we are live today from Royal Scott Lanes in Lansing, Michigan. Round 1 begins in 15 seconds, so these kiddos are done with practice, and they're starting on the court. So, this is Justin's first time on a live stream with Storm. How are you feeling?
Alright, please hold up on your practice. Please hold up on your practice. This is your last opportunity to make any surface changes. Once your hair is clear for competition, you can no longer make any surface changes.
Give some good insights.
Also, spectators, Voltmetrics is the official scoring app of the SYC. Go to voltmetrics.com. You can keep track of the scores. We punch them in live after every game, so the updates on social media.
Here in a minute, so we'll be able to tell you guys what they're
When your screens change, make sure you're on your first ball cycle.
The U18 boys. Let's get them up here.
Use the monitor to reset your pin setters. Good luck and high scores today.
15 minutes of practice, they could get very interesting.
Yeah, so the lane already has a bit of traffic.
Yeah, it's one of your single reaction. They could get very exciting.
Well, hopefully for their sake it's easy.
I'm hoping it's easy too for everyone's sake.
We like to see high scores. So before, you obviously have a lot of experience going on the tour. What do you do? Like, how do you talk to yourself before you start to like calm the nerves? Because I know a lot of these kids, it's their first time and they're really nervous.
I don't think it ever really goes away. You just kind of try to dull it a little bit, I guess. It's just repeating the same process over and over. You get calm over time. Nervousness doesn't really help you make the best shots. It gets a little easier every time just to put it away on the back. You realize you need to work every day, practice every day to get to this point. Now you just gotta get out of there. Let the nerves away and use your brain.
Yeah, muscle memory helps a lot. You can already see we got a few first spring players out here. I would be so nervous too. We got a couple splits.
First shots never.
Do you want to talk the listeners through what oil pattern they're going on?
37 pattern, 25 minutes of oil, drop brush 45 feet, little bit of bubble that. 2 feet. Obviously throwing a lot of irritants, so we're going to make it look a lot more down there. Shorter drop brush. Pretty straightforward 37-footer. This center, a lot of that's very old, 20 plus years. As you go from the low end to the high end, they get a little more hook in the front of the lane, a little bit tighter down the lane. So, the kids that have to make the jump, it's going to be odd going from the high end to the low end in the first couple of shots.
Yeah, we're in a 60 minute center, so there's a lot of lanes to travel.
Basically have their own tournaments like this. That's why they can come right out of high school, college, and beat us all the time.
I hear that. Alright, well, let's see what people have going right now. Oh, this is his first SYC. That is so exciting.
And they're icing right now. They're putting them to the test early.
Poor guy. I know I met Dylan yesterday. He's going on 7.
He was at the TOC. I gave him a bowling ball and I told him strike, he got it. And that's what it is. You know what, he earned it.
Yeah, sometimes we can't do anything about that.
You gotta just let him.
Well, Matthew was unfazed by the ice cream. Since they have to do so many games, it's probably just going to come down to who's going to put the first games.
Yeah. That's what always seems to be what matters the most. It's on every level of the game. You can be prepared. Pick up the mess that's left. Very helpful for a lot of strikes.
The worst is if you miss a cut by 1, and you're like, oh, I probably shouldn't have whiffed that 7 on my 7th.
That is the best thing I ever heard was an interview clip from Delmar. They asked him, why don't you change balls on the field? And he said, well, if I change balls and I lose 1 pin every shot for 30 games, I lose 30 pins on the game. Try to get a strike on my field balls. I did that this season. It really did help.
There's been a lot of washouts. So far, I've seen a lot of washouts. A lot of people missing the break. That's definitely something we don't think about. All of it. That's really important when you're doing team bowling. Really messy. So if you start based on what you're seeing, what would your strategy be?
I'm not sure if the right varies on this one really a little bit, but I would start there with service and back the ball. Probably 3-4 shots on each one just to create a little bit of left. Right in. Yeah, 7, 8, 9, 10 range. That's fine. Maybe a few shots from inside of that to create a little bit of forward. You're just already focused. You know you have to. So then we need to it's the same thing. Usually you have to go outside of the home shot. That's a really easy strategy. That really has to be if they don't play to the left, and they don't to the left. But you also have to do this on tour, scores are a lot higher, a lot more back. Some kids do 550 rates.
It speeds pretty a lot more, especially with the little kids. You know, you've got like 11, 12 miles an hour down there. These guys up here go just as fast as normal adults.
I
I could never go it this fast. I was. Unfortunately, we only have one setup today, 45 minutes. But the kids are skipping 3 pairs, I think. So we should get the majority of kids. And if there's somebody specific you want to see, just comment and I will let you know if they're about to pass or when we open I don't see any low scores, which is nice. At least in the these kids are we got Micah David, 46, like the same and everyone at bowling center. I don't want to mispronounce it, but I think it's Malak's Den and
No spot.
Jacob Holland on 5. What's he doing? He's got 3 strikes. He's still figuring it out. Shot great. Little light. So that game. Yeah, I just did my first tour event, and I had one game where there's 4 back-to-back splits. A high split, that's pretty running speed. Splits are real. Sometimes. But the most important part is that it's not running out. So which one would you prefer not? We're getting Justin's audio. We heard that. Let me know if you can hear him any better.
Deserving my singing. This is 47 weeks of shaking up to be a tough pair. Hard today.
Yeah.
It's always safer.
Right, because the ball's gonna shine out.
I can go on the job throwing.
I only saw a couple of kids in the Admiral impact, but I never saw anything lower than 1,000. 1,000's not that low.
Left side.
I have to call someone.
On tour, I feel like you guys make your,
No,
it's
I'm
black
right
for
here.
white.
So, what do you think? Trading for 7. 7, yeah.
Will you explain to those watching what does adding surface do to your ball?
Obviously, first, the most obvious thing is it makes the ball really big right on the lane. Also, smooths out the reaction. So most of the time, especially when you're doing a lot of foil, more surface effect. I guess the thing I say that the stages of ball speed is waste it out. Those days, that just gets magnified. I mean, obviously, we're like balls with 16.
Maybe not for
Especially here, there's not we want to be 1,000. We hear that a lot of times. It's really vital. You see the line that way, just because, especially on the Friday,
So do you think the straighter players would have more of an advantage on this pattern?
we're used to running the ball already.
See how the girls are playing this pattern. I bet it's going to be very different. Because I know at least for me, and I'm sure a lot of the U18 girls would be in the same boat, our speed is so much slower. A ball moves up so quickly, and a lot of girls can't throw or they can go as fast as these guys. Those that can, I'm sure, are having a great time right now. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how different their zones, or even if they are different. Right. I can tell you who's having an easier time. There was a couple Verity bowled a couple of men's tours. Alright, our scores. Let's see anything miraculously high. We still got Jacob on 45. We can get a pretty good max score for these boys are really great bowlers. Would you, in a block like this, would you rather struggle early or struggle late? What do you think is more?
What is my score?
Let's say your struggle score is a 150. I mean, we don't want to struggle anytime. Yeah, it's definitely a marathon.
Some of the best bowlers in the world. See if you can,
Yep. Especially with this that they're all playing against each other. They're all playing strategy. I know a lot of these kids are friends and have been since they were in 12, so it's really nice. Sometimes when you get older, you start thinking of people as enemies, but they never really are. It's always kind of just against yourself. Right. Yeah, one of the best life hacks I've learned in doing more tournaments this year is that the girl next to you or the guy next to you pulling a 250 and they kind of throw it somewhere too, you should probably be around where they're at, especially if you're struggling. Smarter as you get older is the goal. Because you're not supposed to know everything. Oh my gosh, you got it. Stretch. 150 and 180. Scout with 12. Hang in there, you'll get it. Wow, he does. On 46, I've got to that is my only goal when I come to these tournaments is if I have a clean game, then can't complain. That's a lot of spares. Yeah, we have a underage in Idaho, and that was notoriously awful. And I would be shocked if any kind of clean game from that. When the patterns are hard, terrible scores. I mean, what are you going to do when you get a 7-10? Not much. same thing with my car.
It's the method of my life.
Yep.
Shut up.
Especially these kids are really diverse, you know, because there's like conflicting opinions. Like, you want to change your hand, flatten it for your spares or not. There's some people that are like, absolutely not. Why would you ever want to change your this? But there's guys that swear by it. It's easy for them, so. Oh, yeah.
I feel like he can also say that.
For all of these spectators, you can see the scores on fullmetrics.com. It should be in the bio. The scores will be updated ASAP as soon as the game's finished. We got Noah here who's still just got so cheated by that technic. I think we could like 10 times.
Boys got
There is nothing more brutal than going down straight back. You go, what?
refreshing to see as adults forget that about the emotions.
Yeah. I know when I was their age, I did not handle sub 160 games per day. Pretty sure a few years. These kids are just kind of children. I think the ones that have been through there's so many more games left.
Shut up. Come on.
Yeah, Michael was like 4'9" there. I think he played 9. I think so. One of the prettiest balls ever. Really?
Great looking ball.
I don't think I ever threw it.
Ball state.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Learning all the processes that
Yeah, and they're always coming. Yeah. I think especially for tournaments like this where the families are traveling hours, you can't bring more than 40 14 balls, even that's a lot. But you gotta kind of be picky once you pick an arsenal. Okay, thanks. Thank you.
Somebody write your scores down.
Yeah. It's just most important to know what they do. Because there are some kids I brought 4 or 5 bags. I'm like, well, I sure hope you know what all of this do. Because I wouldn't. His laydown seemed a bit.
Yeah.
Just had to go and miss my least favorite, quote unquote, makeable spare.
That's a sport.
Yeah. It's basically a split. Oh. This is the only pair I have seen, like, the ball hit the left side of the pocket, probably trying to hit. Picked up that 310 arm, I saw some guy in league go hurt me. Just go right through where the 6 was. I think that's harder to do than any other ball. Really? That makes sense.
Hey, hey, Roger.
I think we're getting some new 15 boys question mark. I'm gonna have to ask. Mario, yes. These kids do have the coolest jerseys. I think I've had the same one, yeah. These shots on 45 and 46 just went Brooklyn's time. Yeah, switching pairs is always really hard. First frame is always I mean, you can't see topography or where the oil has migrated. That's interesting. Oh, yeah? Yeah, being the lead off player, I think, sucked the most because, as I just said, those first two kicks went home. I would have saw that and went, maybe this pair hooks a little more than my last pair, and I would adjust, and the next two kids know right no, not very great. Wow, that shot from Tyler was joining us for game 2. Maybe we have some late joiners. I am Nicole. I work at Storm, and this is Justin Knowles, one of our staff controllers. And we are in game 2 of the short pattern in Lansing, Michigan. And you can see all the scores on photometrics.com. They update them as soon as everything is done.
Let me switch with you for a second.
And we're going to fix the audio real quick, so enjoy. Blair. Well, there's just a couple people saying they can't hear us very well.
Sometimes
But
it's
it's loud.
people too, like
It might be.
barely hear you. Okay, let me jump in really quick. You need to go get water. Yeah, go. Do you need anything to drink?
Yeah, I'll take a water. That'd be great. Thank you. Appreciate it.
We will switch you guys in and out.
Yeah, sounds good.
We left early this morning and had so much time. All right, we're gonna do a test, and I have a feeling that you guys can hear us better.
All right.
So let's test this.
Let's hope that fixes it.
Yeah. All right, Justin, how is life on the PBA Tour?
Life is good. It was a short season this year. Felt like everything was kind of crammed into a really short period, but the beauty of that is we get a lot of time off.
It's
But
true.
it was nice. It's my I think my 3rd season full time. So you know, I'm kind of the rookie jitters kind of out of the way, and now I'm settled into a routine and just got a little bit easier to live on the road. Still tough to be away from home so long, but yeah, it's kind of settled into something nice.
For sure. Good deal. All right. Well, I'm gonna let Nicole jump back in, but we're gonna do some switching after
Sure.
next game, and
Sounds
we're gonna
good.
let you go out, and we'll bring in some other people to commentate. So
Sounds
let's
good.
talk about these awesome kids.
Let's do it. It looks like we're seeing a little more strikes here, game 2. Lanes are transitioning. Everyone seems to make a little bit move left. Get away from the flatter part of the pattern and smooth out ball reaction. Dylan on 46 here. It's like 13-14 to 9-10. A little bit of hold developing here. I think we're going to start seeing some higher scores. Seems like that fixed the audio issues. Perfect. Awesome.
All right. Where did we leave off?
Yeah, I was just saying, looks like a little bit more carry down, and they're blending out a little bit easier. So I think we're going to see some higher scores. Everyone kind of made that jump to the right for the lefties, and then to the left for the righties. And now kind of playing the shim, and scores are starting to increase a little bit.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot more strikes. That is great.
It's insane how fast they change. They blend immediately. Just that couple of minutes of the lane sitting and have a second to kind of cool down, and all of a sudden they get a little bit easier.
All right, we got Braden on 45 right now from Tennessee.
Working on a double here. Great shot.
Wonderful strike. This is also his first SYC.
Wow.
Although he already looks like a pro. Doesn't even look nervous.
Solid. This pair is striking 45 and 6. And right on cue, I black clouded him. I'm sorry about that, Nick.
Oh, and again, the 3-6-10. Poor guy. Wow, we have a lot of two-handed bowlers over here.
A ton, yeah.
Almost every single one I just saw was a two-handed.
Yeah, I don't know if I've seen a one-hander in these couple of pairs.
Wow.
It's wild. I mean, it was literally a decade before we ever saw another one. I mean, when we first saw another two-hander in the wild, we were, wow, there's other people are doing this, and now it's everyone. It's crazy.
I remember
It's just
my
exploded.
youth league, there was one kid that threw it two-handed, and he was amazing. He always had high average and high games every week. And I think he was actually the only two-handed bowler in my youth league all throughout my childhood.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think that's just a sign that we're getting old, I think.
Well, I feel like for men especially, either you throw it two-handed or your backswing is just as high as EJ's.
It feels that way
Both are
now with
hard.
the kids, yeah. I mean, the two-handed route kind of gives you a little more free rev rate, I guess would be a good way to say it. A little more ball speed. So, I mean, definitely understand the amount of people doing it now. It gives you a little bit more of a head start, even, I would say, over the one-handers at this point. But these kids, these one-handers now are unbelievable, too.
Wow,
Really
that's
good
really
try at
close
that
on
spare.
Yeah, for the people that complain about two-handed, I don't understand because I wish I could do it. If I was that good, I would do two-handed, but it is hard.
Yeah, the thing nobody talks about is the strain on the body. I mean, it's as we get older, especially, we're seeing it more, but a lot more strain on your lower body, your lower back. So you got to be in shape. You got to take care of your body. You're using so much more muscles,
right,
than a one-hander. Using basically the whole other side of your body, and it gets taxing on the body for sure. I mean, these young kids are all super great athletes, so you're not seeing any issues there. But when you get to my age, you do start to feel it, and I'm sure the one-handers do too. It's just different types of
right.
stuff, wrist and elbow maybe for the one-handers, and lower back and knees for the two-handers, I think, are the kind of common sore spots.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking from experience.
I know most of the young girls I saw yesterday during the practice session had knee braces on.
Sure, yeah.
Just like I did when I was their age.
Preventative or
Hopefully
to-
preventative.
let's hope, yeah.
At their age.
I know the rise of kinesiology tape the last 10
a
years has been
lifesaver.
amazing.
Yes.
A couple shots going high here, but it looks like for the most part, most of the kids have made that move in, that 3 or 4 board move to the left, and using the whole little bit softer speed now and rotation. A couple people staying outside and rolling it with speed here.
Oh, the 1-2-10, my favorite split to pick up, and he did it.
That's good.
That is
It's fair.
awesome. Well, technically it's not a split, but you know, it still looks impressive.
It counts.
I think so. That's a pretty big gap, if you ask me.
That's yeah, absolutely. All right, good spare there. Raising the roof on the 3-6-10. I like it. My opinion on string pins. So I've bowled on both the sanctioned and unsanctioned versions. The sanctioned version, it felt pretty equal to free fall pins in my opinion. No crazy hits. Your pocket's much smaller. That's the one thing I've noticed. Your strikes have to be a lot more true, which is great. I mean, I think, especially as a training tool, I think it would be amazing to use for that.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I mean, you might see 1 or 2 occasional hits where maybe the string plays a factor, but I mean, you see that in free fall pins too on a bad rack, or sidewalls that kick really hard. I mean, so in my opinion, you just kind of have to put the ego aside a little bit and really get your ball through the pins the right way. So yeah, I'm all for it. I'm a big fan. And I mean, the cost of for the centers too, it's such a cost-effective way. And if it keeps centers open, you know, I'd rather bowl in a center with string pins than not bowl at all. So whatever you need to do, I fully support it. I'm totally on board. Have you bowled on string pins yet?
I have.
Okay.
Yes.
Interesting.
Storm just installed string pins on lane 2.
Oh, okay.
Down in
Wow.
our testing center, and it is interesting.
Very interesting.
As somebody that has a much slower ball speed, I definitely notice a little more of a difference.
Yeah,
My
absolutely.
strikes have to be perfect.
That makes sense. Yep.
You know, but it like you said, which I'd never thought of before. You know, if you train that way, you're used to getting, you know, your ball right in the pocket. And
Absolutely.
then when you go to other centers with free fall pins or old wood pins, you might carry a lot more
Yeah,
you're used to training so hard.
The last thing we needed on tour, wow, what a hit there from Tyler.
Wish
The
we had a
last
replay
thing
button on that one.
we needed was EJ to put string pins in his center, so he hits the pocket even better
Oh,
than he does
gosh.
now. So that's really great, you know, that he
Just adding to his tool bag.
trains on getting his ball through the pins even better.
Yeah, that guy is so good. Ooh,
Great spare.
picked up the
2
washout.
crazy
28.
hits there on 47 and 8 in a row.
These kids are so good.
Dylan here on 46, working on a double. Let's see where he's playing them. You can definitely see the
Very
whole
nice.
development on 45 and 6, right at that 9, 10, 11 zone. That was a great shot. Really good shot there. I am interested to know if they're going to get into reactive and how fast they do it. Or if they're going to stay in your thing the whole day.
hunch on that.
Okay.
I bet they're going to hold out
I
really long.
agree completely.
Because I know these young guys love throwing their urethane
They
balls.
love the urethane, for sure.
Don't blame them.
Absolutely not. No. I mean, you go with what tool strikes the most, and if that's what's striking the most for you, I'm all for it. Looks like some big scores down in 51 and 2. Hayden Wall on the front 6.
Oh, wow.
Can't see if that struck.
It did not. Well, his name's Hayden.
I have black clouded 2 people now, so I'm gonna no longer. I'm gonna let you point those out.
Well, good thing they can't hear us, I hope.
Yeah, perfect. I know Hayden. He's a good kid. Know his family a little bit. Good bowler. There's some reactive there from Nick. He's got a really good ball roll. Love the way he rolls it. A little light there, but that was a pretty good shot.
Oh, the first one-hander I've seen in a while, but I
Yeah.
don't know if that was just because he was picking up his spare. Tyler.
That is fascinating. Yeah, if you are a one-hander that became a two-hander, please shoot your spares with one hand. I mean, it makes it so much simpler on yourself
Oh, I bet.
to just give him the heater with the one hand at the spare ball. Great shot by Dylan on 45. He's having a great game.
We got Joshua Rice on 48 right now from Louisville, Kentucky, and he wants to say hello to his family back home.
Good shot there, Josh.
And a strike just for his family.
Good ball. All right, good spare there from Dylan.
We have Brady up on 49, which you can see in the right side of your screen right now, going for a spare.
Good
And
spare
got
there. That's a pretty good pair over there. Brady, Josh Weems, Cole Rogas from Michigan. Good lefty from close to here. Andrew Franks, Silas, and Jake. Really strong pairing. A lot of 3-6-10s on 47 and 8. This pair is brutal.
Oh, we hate to see the 3-6-10 almost as much as we hate to see the bucket.
It knows that it upsets you, so it keeps
no.
standing up.
I just said bucket, and Nicholas on 45 just left the bucket.
They may want to change out commentators soon. We're
think we're bringing
unfortunately
bad luck.
clouding everyone so far. Let's hope somebody can
Or maybe
change
we
the
can just see
mojo.
the future.
That could be. I wish that was the case. That would be very nice. Then I'd
Wouldn't
know
it?
what tournaments I could stay home for. That would be great.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
There's just a ton of hook in the front on 47 and a ton of hook down the lane. They are just very odd. I've bowled on this pair a lot practicing. I didn't really notice a lot of the intricacies on the left side, but on the right side it is not looking friendly right now.
I haven't seen any lefties yet, have you?
Yeah, just one or two. Cole Rogas on 50 and I think one more on 43 and 4, but yeah, that's so far that's it. That is wild, yeah. I guess there isn't very many here today.
There might be more as we get kids shuffling down
Sure.
our way. I'm starting to see the girls over to the left. I cannot wait until they're in our view. It'll be fun.
Really good shot from Nick there.
Braden's got a pretty tough spare on 45, although it is makeable-ish.
That is a tough one. Do you hook at it or do you throw plastic straight at it? What's your theory?
Oh my gosh, for him, I'd probably hook at it.
I like it.
Oh,
Wow, that was
Oh,
close.
that was
That should have
close.
spared. That was a good shot.
would you hook at that or throw straight?
No, I would throw a plastic ball at it.
Yeah.
For the same reason. I'm really good at getting one, so I'm gonna make sure I get 3.
Well, when the pattern's this flat, I try to throw my spare ball at everything.
Yeah, of
because
course.
when I lay it down in a zone that is not where my strike ball is, I have absolutely no idea what it's going to do.
Absolutely, so unpredictable. That's such an underrated piece of advice. The harder they are, I mean, I would throw plastic at everything anyway, but the harder they are, you just never know what your ball's going to do when you're playing different zones that, I mean, you haven't played all day.
Exactly. I mean, on house shots, it's fun to be lazy sometimes and just, throw your strike ball at everything, so you don't have to grab another ball. But, yeah, when ratios are this low, the oil's so evenly distributed, yeah, you have no clue.
You just don't. The ball could do anything. Oh. Good spare on 46. I've chopped that a few million times in my life. It's a great spare.
I'm not sure what is going on 47. I think they took a re-rack. Might have had a pin-off spot? Not sure.
It marked him as a gutter, but I don't recall him throwing a shot there.
No, I don't think so either.
I'm not sure.
Oh my God.
Great trip. That's 2 on 46 I've seen.
Oh, we love when pins fall forward. That's so nice of the universe.
We might be onto something here with the light hit on 46.
Oh, it's missing a 9-pin on 47.
Oh, okay.
That's why they're resetting.
Had a few issues with that rack today. Not sure what's going on.
Wow, didn't we just pick the best pair to sit behind? I feel so bad.
We're keeping it interesting here. See, I was right about it being difficult, but I wasn't right about the factors that went into making it difficult.
More than what we thought.
Oh, the pair's already hard. Let's make you wait a few minutes to throw a shot on it. Do you do anything like a Sudoku type of thing to keep yourself busy while you're bowling, or are you more of a
I saw that Troop does
focus?
that, right?
Yeah, a few guys are doing that now.
I've been thinking about doing that, but no. So, let's see. When I'm bowling, I tend to not face the lanes. If I'm bowling well, I don't want to face the lanes. If it's a mixed tournament, especially, because if I watch the guys bowl, I tend to start whiffing my first ball, like throwing it too fast.
Sure.
So I try to just, keep my eyes down and focus. And I always have a notebook to write down my moves. So that way, especially if it's a 2-day tournament, you want to make sure you knew what that pair did the day before.
Sure, yeah, information.
But in league, if I'm bowling bad or if I'm bored, I'm playing Tetris.
Okay, Tetris, all right.
Love Tetris.
Interesting.
But, in bigger tournaments, you can't have your phone out. So
that's
when you got to fight the demons in your brain.
That's right.
Turn them off.
That's right. I'm a chess guy. Chess is
my chess.
Yeah, that's what I do to kill time. Not very good, but it's a good just kind of escape the mind from what's going on. But
gotta find some way to quiet the self-doubt.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like a lot of these kids are just focused in and love to see it. It's good. It's a good shot by Josh there, 45. Oh, off the wall.
Got lucky there on 46, and he knows it.
It's a great celebration. That's awesome.
So I've only seen you bowl a couple times, once during qualifying and once on a TV match. But in general, are you a pretty animated bowler, or are you pretty reserved when it comes to your reactions?
A lot of people will come up to me and be like, I've never seen you act that way like you do on TV. And I don't know what demon comes out on television, but I'm the calmest, most reserved person in general in the world. But when we bowl TV shows, I don't know what happens. But something else happens altogether, and that guy comes out.
Just the lights, camera, action.
Yeah, I'm just not that.
Second personality comes out.
I'm not that type of person. I'm super calm and relaxed, and even, in match play before the show. But we get to the show. I like to have some fun. Bowling, I don't want to say it can be boring because I love bowling. But there's ways to spice it up on TV, and I feel like getting the crowd involved is always a good thing, and
For
keeping
sure.
people interested, and it keeps me in a calmer mood, and I'm not hearing all the voices when while we're bowling. It's so quiet, and obviously the pressure. It's just an easy way for me to kind of get everyone else involved and calm myself down. But
Yeah.
yeah, when I made my first show, I had like an hour after we bowled our last match before the show started, so there was like no nerves, and I was super chilled and relaxed, and I went a little crazy, and that just became the easy, calmer thing to do for me on shows. But
Well, that's interesting.
yeah, people will meet me in public, and they're like, "That's not how you act at all." Yeah, yep. My wife calls it my representative.
Oh.
Said, "Yeah,
I
that's
like
your
that.
representative that comes out." I'm like, "Oh, okay. Well,
That's awesome.
yeah, it's just different. It's weird how your brain reacts under stressful situations like that. Very crazy. I'm gonna pull a switcheroo now and just be dead silent the next time.
Oh my gosh.
Just just shock everybody.
The person you're bowling against might be like, oh my god,
It's a good mental
what's he know
game,
that I
right?
don't know?
There
Why
we
is he,
go.
Why is
Yeah,
he switching it up?
change it up. Can't let them expect everything.
Yep.
We're seeing some good games here on 45 and 6. Couple good potential for some big ones, and on 49 and 50. 47 8's holding up to my predictions so far. Still pretty tough.
So tough.
Potential for a few good games, but in general, a
A
little
lot of
lower
these guys
scoring
are picking
pace.
up the majority of their spares.
Yeah,
48's doing pretty good
absolutely.
with their spare game. Ooh,
Great
great
shot.
shot on 46.
Yeah, Dylan's bowling a really good game. He kind of found the hold area there and just kind of shoving the ball to it. Really good lane play.
Wow, Jake just threw on 49, which should be on the very right side of your screen. He's got a very great form. Very simple.
Yeah. Some of these kids just really good stuff. I've bowled for 30 years and they look better than me at 14. It's depressing, but very impressive to watch. They're so good.
Very impressive, yeah.
Just up hit that one a little bit on 46.
Good thing that 7 fell.
Brooklyn action. There we go. We need those. Gotta have those Brooklyns. Are you a Brooklyn celebrator or a get off the approach as fast as possible?
Oh,
you
I
Brooklyn?
run away.
Okay,
Don't even
all right,
don't
all
even
right.
mention it.
That's
Don't
fair.
act like you never saw it. But I appreciate them.
I'm a slap it out, turn around, smile type of guy, just because I know that it probably irks others. So
That's a good strategy.
just come on, need those.
Uh-huh.
Gotta have them.
I do not mind them in tournaments. Sometimes I'll pray for Brooklyn
Yes.
if there's just anything I can get. In league, though, is when I'll roll my eyes and go, oh,
Sure.
sorry, guys.
It's so hard to Brooklyn when you get to a higher level of bowling because your your misses and your miss room with your hand are just, it's so hard to get a Brooklyn. Sometimes you pray for them.
Because you have to miss a lot.
Yeah, I mean, you just
You kinda have
pray
to
that the
yank
ball
it.
runs away. Please don't get 4.
Yeah,
And
just
it
don't go
just
through the nose.
Never does.
Oh, and somebody just, got a big 4.
Oh,
Right as we
say.
said that. Oh,
You know,
at least it was in his
we
film.
got to stop talking about things when people are up to bowl because it makes it happen, unfortunately.
Keegan says he celebrates his Brooklyns to annoy others.
I love to hear it,
Yeah.
Keegan. I do. You should be happy. A strike's a strike. You should be happy. It's okay to be disappointed, but it doesn't mean you have to be unhappy.
Right. Now, if all I'm getting is Brooklyns, then I'm very upset because that means I am nowhere close
That's a really good
to my
point.
pocket.
I've
It all
heard that
depends.
from a few people. They're like, well, why don't you just aim to go Brooklyn? I'm like, if it's going Brooklyn, I don't have a clue where it's going at that point. So I wish I
Right.
could.
Our social media manager, Yannick, said that in college, he bowled for Scab,
Okay.
that some tournaments, or a tournament, I'm not sure, the coach told them to try and throw Brooklyn. For
Sure.
whatever reason, I guess it was just, easier to do that. So it's a strategy.
Yeah, they're just brutal.
You
yeah.
can make it work.
If you can do it, I mean, all power to you. That's the kind of thing I could see Simo doing, and doing it extremely well. He's got the skill level to do things like that. That part of your brain that says I shouldn't be doing this for me would
Yeah.
definitely win.
Yep. Is it, what's his name? Is it Boog Kroll?
Boog is kind of known
Doesn't
for
he
that.
do Brooklyn's a lot?
You know, they were hooking that week, and I
We
was
have the
not
strike
surprised to
derby.
see
He
that
did that,
happening.
yeah.
But he's good at that.
Good
He
for
makes
him.
he gets it to strike.
I love it.
I just don't have the ball speed. I leave the 5-pin so many times when I Brooklyn.
That's the same with me. If I go Brooklyn, usually the 5 doesn't fall.
Yep, it's just staying there.
And then we have that spare ball dilemma. Do you throw straight?
Australia, wow. Well, thanks for watching, Keegan.
Wow.
Appreciate that. What time is it there in Australia? Is that 9-10 hours ahead? Maybe more?
Are they ahead? Yeah.
Are they
would be.
behind? Shoot,
I don't know.
I'm not sure.
Where's the line at?
I think it's pretty far ahead, yeah. Wow, well, thanks for spending some time with us. Dylan's great bowling here on 45. He can punch off for 258. What a good game. 47, another great washout spare. 47 is just looks so brutal today. Bottom's
It
bowling
is
a really good
12:11 a.m. in Australia.
Wow.
Where Keegan is watching. That is dedication.
game. Hey, you know, I respect the dedication.
That's awesome.
12-11. That
Way
makes
past my bedtime.
Belmonte's career so underrated is the fact that he
Oh my gosh, always
traveled
dealing with
all
jet
those
lag.
time zones so many times. Yeah, it's so impressive.
I know for me, this is 2 hours ahead of Utah time.
Oh yeah, that's
so
right.
it felt like
Yeah.
waking up at 5 a.m., but that's doable.
That's brutal though, yeah.
For
It's
some
tough.
of these kids, they're also dealing with quite a big time change.
Yeah, I mean that's a huge effect. Huge. When we were in Reno, it was really tough. There's so many times I was waking up, you know, at 8 a.m. my time, and it'd be 4 or 5 a.m. Like I don't want to be awake right now, but it's jet lag, so difficult.
Yeah. I don't think kids are as affected by it. Because some of these
Yeah, I
kids
think
are
you're
up
right,
all night
yeah.
anyways.
That's true. Yeah, that's very true.
They're
I'd be
probably fine.
lucky to get to 11 nowadays. I'm becoming my father.
If I'm up at
very
11
quickly.
p.m., I am upset.
I knew I was old when I started to go to bed early, and I started liking coffee. Those are the two signs I was aging. Like, oh no,
So funny.
it's happening.
All right, so we got some pairs finishing up. The high game on 45 and 46 was a 258.
That's a great
Another
game.
clean game. He had 2 non-strike frames. That is amazing.
A very good game.
Let's look up. So that was Dylan. I bet he's bowled a 300 before. Let's see. Of course, yes, Dylan has bowled a 300 before on his mom's birthday. Shout out, Mom.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
So he's used to scores like that. No biggie for him.
No big deal.
Been there, done that.
Great shot from Josh. There we go.
He is excited about that one.
Absolutely.
So is Mom over here cheering for him.
I love it. You can catch my mom in the background of a few of my shows having an emotional breakdown. So
Oh.
we're thankful for the parents. They deal with a lot.
They
do
do.
a lot of stuff.
When I was this age, I used to think, gosh, they're so annoying. Why do they? And now that I'm older, I'm like, wow, they just really care.
Yeah,
so
that's
much.
very true. I spent a lot of time like, can you please just go away? And
Yeah.
now I'm like, well, can you stay here longer, please?
Right.
It's tough. Dream is to bowl in America. Oh, that would be awesome. Yeah, I hope you get to do that one day. That would be great. I would love to bowl in Australia. Maybe we can swap. You can come bowl in Michigan, and I'll go bowl there. I think it's a little warmer where
You're
you
gonna
are.
send Keegan to Michigan for his first U.S. trip?
Yeah, maybe go somewhere cooler.
Let's see. Keegan, I would send you to Texas. Texas has a really good bowling scene.
Texas is
The
great.
Barnes family's out there. You could catch them. I
You
would
could-
not send you to Florida.
No Florida.
Oh, well, he might be used to humidity in Australia.
That is true.
So he might chill in Florida.
You know what, Keegan? Just fly to Lansing, and we'll bowl here at Royal Scott on a random Tuesday. It'll be a great day. But then after that, you got to go somewhere cool.
There we go. Part 2 of the tour.
Wow, that was a great try at that spare. All right, I feel like we're getting our first 200 on this pair this game. I feel like it's happening. We're putting it into
Nicholas
the
has
universe.
A chance. If you few people have a chance, yeah.
It seems like this pair is basically begging you to be straighter and firmer, whereas 45 and 6 and 49.50, they can shape them a little bit more. Which ball just kind of wants to fall off of it. An interesting thing about Royal Scott here, just kind of a inside knowledge. So I don't know if anyone's heard this before, but there's certain centers where lanes are screwed down at a certain board to maintain topography and integrity. Like Thunderbolt would be one, and Royal Scott's another, where it's screwed down on the 7 board. So when you're shaping the ball or even going up the lane, 7 effectively becomes a ramp, and as you get further left away from it and try to throw it around it, it gets way harder to make it back up the hill. So a lot of these patterns I think we're going to see, and we're already seeing it on the short, the more you have to shape the ball, once it gets outside of 7, it's very difficult to get it back. It just kind of creates this ramp. Just a little insider knowledge. I mean, the World Series a couple years ago in Detroit, the lefties bowled really, really well, and the righties struggled because most of the patterns forced the righties to throw the ball around that board.
Wow.
And we didn't have to. We played to the left of it, and we bowled a lot better that week. So it's just another thing that if you're not really deep ingrained in bowling, that you would know info like that. But
Yeah, I never in a million years would have known that.
yeah, a few of these
interesting.
centers, but this is one of them. Yep, all of them are screwed down at the 7 board on both sides. So
Wow.
something you really got to keep in mind as you're shaping the ball throughout the week.
Are you going to go up? Okay.
2022 bowled your first 3. Oh, that's awesome! Congratulations. I have a different weird 300 story. My dad bowled his first 300 in 2001 with a bowling ball. He left that ball in the closet. I plugged it and used it 11 years later and bowled my first 300 with the exact same ball. So the exact same ball we bowled our first 300s with.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's so cute.
Pretty wild story.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was cool.
And Keegan just asked what balls are being thrown. I see a lot of urethane still.
A lot of pitch blacks, a lot of IQ 78s, purple hammers, lots of urethane.
Yeah, across all pairs, really, that's kind of all I'm seeing.
Yeah, I've seen a couple reactive balls, but I mean not very many at all so far. 37-footer, a lot of friction in the center. You're probably not going to see a lot of reactive balls today.
Just peeking down at the girls, I just saw 3 reactive balls go down the lane.
Definitely we'll see a lot more with the girls.
Yeah. And after the 3rd game, so in the 4th game, we should catch the girls in the live stream. I think they'll be on 45 and 46.
There we go, Mom. Really good shot. Double intent to save 190. All right, Nick, it's up to you to hold my 200 standard here.
Uh-oh.
I like his chances. I feel like he's going to get that double.
Oh.
Tough pair. I'm telling you, there's something about commentary booths and pairs, because whenever we go to the Bowl TV booth pair, I never bowl a good game. There's something to it.
I bet. Because usually, like normal live streams, because in qualifying and adult tournaments, there's usually live stream on every pair.
Yeah.
And it never bothers you. But yeah, the commentary pairs are brutal.
Yeah, there's something about it. I'm sure this end gets a lot more open play, a lot more random, a lot more leagues on the lower end too. So
really?
Yeah.
That's flipped from how other centers usually do it.
There's a lot of there's just not a lot of bowling here at all. The high school teams bowl their matches down here. Other than that, yeah, just not a whole lot of league bowling and things like that.
That's a nice thing that locals especially would know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. Like the end pair 5960 is my personal practice pair. So the left there is I've gotta imagine hooks a little bit more than every other pair, just the thousands of games I've bowled on it.
That's hilarious.
So I'm sorry, or you're welcome to the lefties that are bowling down there.
Yeah, so all lefties listening, you ever bowl here, write that down.
If you hit
Key
that
piece
pair,
of
I
info.
promise it will hook more. We are 2 games in, and we still do not have a 247 and 8. This pair
Really
is
tough.
brutal.
That 194 looks like it's going to be the highest game
Highest
on
game
that
we've
pair,
seen, so far. This is a really tough spare. Let's see if it picks it up. That's a tough one to shoot.
Oh,
Ouch.
he handled that so well.
Yes,
I would
he
have
did.
rolled my eyes way bigger than that.
Yeah, there's some mannerisms that come out in those situations from time to time. All right, let's see what Dylan's move is here on 48. Kind of give us a good idea of what to look forward to next game. Yeah, and you can see it in shots like that too. He tried to go firmer and straighter, and that was about 5-6 down lane, and it just struggled to get up that hill. I'm surprised we haven't seen people moving, further left and softening up the speed and trying to kind of loop it a little more on this pair, but I don't know how many kids are paying attention to the pair they're going to. They're moving pretty far, so it's tough to see.
Right, they'd have to look 4 pairs down. That's
Yeah.
hey, but you got parents.
Yeah,
They should be telling their parents to go down there. And
Word
scout
of, word of mouth travels pretty fast when pairs are bad. We
Yeah.
tend to hear about those pretty fast. That could be good or bad, but yeah, they're tough. I can't tell what Tyler's throwing. I think it's a urethane ball.
On 47?
Yeah, on 47. I'm not sure what that is. I would like to see some, on this pair especially, some people moving into that 15, 16, maybe even 20 to 8, 9, just kind of slower looping it. That was a really good move there. Good shot.
Oh, I just saw an RST hyperdrive come out of the
There
bag.
we go. That's my personal favorite bowling ball.
That is my favorite big ball right now, yeah. It's great. Although, it's not that dull, so that's an interesting choice.
Yeah, absolutely. Keeping it shinier is definitely interesting.
All right, well, now that we just finished game 2, I'm going to hop off and we're going to let Blair on. We're going to take a quick little break and we'll be right back.
All right, welcome back, everyone. Thanks for hanging out with us at the SYC Michigan. We're going to have Mr. Eric Kraus pop in. He's a local coach in the area, just joined the staff at TurboTech. Give us some insight there. So the bowlers we're watching on 47 and 48, we have Gabriel Hale, Quinn Dean, Jacob Fester, Anthony Swanson, Micah Jensen, and Nathan Gross. And on 45 and 46, you can see them as well. We have Trevor Rama, Max Oken, Mason D. Word, Kendall Carpenter, Aiden Sikelsik, and Gavin Murray. Welcome to everyone in the chat. We hope you are having a great Memorial Day weekend. Pull up some bios here. I do know that Quinn Dean here just recently, he has a haircut. So Quinn is from Reynoldsburg, Ohio. He's up on lane 47. His favorite practice center, Wayne Webb's Columbus Bowl, 17 years old. He's placed 10th at the 2022 Junior Gold Championships. He plays drums for his school and also plays percussion for the choir. He also rocks handbells. And he has a 4.5 GPA. Quinn also recently at school, they did a function for charity, raised some funds, and they all cut off their hair and donated it to kids with cancer. So, and I am joined by Mr. Eric Kraus.
Hi Blair, how are you?
Good. How are you doing, Eric?
Doing good.
So, Eric, you are from this area.
Yep, I grew up in this center.
Nice. This is a beautiful center.
Yeah,
it's a good one.
They do a fantastic job.
Yeah, and they have these beautiful new media boards, which are amazing.
It's awesome to see the SYC logo and all the things they can do with this giant scoreboard.
Yeah, right? And so you recently took on a new position at TurboTech, correct?
Absolutely. I am one of the coaches at the TurboTech Training Center. So, which
is fantastic. And Turbo, where is it located for those at home that might not know where TurboTech is?
TurboTech is in Chesterfield, Michigan. So it's kind of closer to Sterling Heights, that area, Macomb County.
Yeah.
So.
And you're doing lessons there?
Yep.
And how do people find out more or sign up for lessons if they?
Well, you can visit turbogrips.com, or we have a Facebook page, TurboTech Training Center. You can get a hold of me on my Facebook page or anything like that. You can reach out to me, Perry Crowell, Mike Magellan, Andrew. But the easiest way is to go to our website.
It's awesome. So yesterday you were doing a seminar on Surface. Mm-hmm. How did that go? I
thought it was fantastic. There was a lot of new faces. It looked like some of the U15, U12 were here.
Okay.
So I hope they learned a lot. It was a pretty big crowd, and they asked some great questions.
That's great. Yeah. What's the most common Surface question, do you feel like, if there is one?
I think the most common one is how much,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
There's no, that was one of the things I covered is there's no magic answer. But most of the time we don't have enough on it. Watching a little bit right now, and I see a lot of people that could use a little more surface on there, especially on the urethane balls.
For sure.
Justin and I were just having that conversation as he was getting out of the booth, and that was kind of our same observation.
Yeah, so you see Micah there. He's throwing a urethane ball. He is from Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
Yeah, I had the pleasure of meeting Micah for the first time yesterday afternoon and yesterday evening. So, great young kid.
Yeah, his mom was telling me before I hopped in that he has a really good mental game and stays pretty even-keeled, which is what you want kids to have at this age, right?
Absolutely. That was one of the things that, Mike did a presentation on that, and that was one of the things that he talked to some of the parents about is regulating emotions. And, it's hard at this age because we all think we should win every time we go and, strike every shot. But unfortunately, that's not the case.
True story.
That's true at the men's and the ladies tour, and especially at here at SYCs or any of the the junior gold events.
Yeah. We have Nathan here. Nathan's from Cincinnati, Ohio. Bowls at Northwest Bowl, 17 years old. He loves bowling tournaments with his best friend Haley. That's one of his favorite things about bowling, and they're going to Junior Gold together for the 3rd year in a row. He was 8th in his class at school, which is the top 3%.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, wants to say hi to Brenna Hartzler. She's an outstanding bowler at Nebraska, so friendships made out here.
Absolutely. That's that's one of the great things about bowling is I have friends all over the world. I still talk to Dom. He's over in England. Oscu I talk to probably at least once a month.
So cool. Yeah.
I've made so many friendships through bowling, and that's I think that's one of the great things about SIC is we didn't have this to this level when I was growing up. We had MJMA in this area and JTBAs, but we didn't have anything like SYCs.
No.
So
yeah.
I mean, I know with some of the kids I coach, they're like, oh, I talked to my friend in California or Hawaii or wherever it may be.
Yeah, because really you can be friends with anybody, anywhere. So, Gabe here, Gabe Hale is from Broken Arrow, Oklahoma.
Oh, okay. 17
years old. One of his favorite things about bowling is that it's a grind, and that comeback to win. Like, he loves that feeling in bowling. He likes to cook. His life is 99.5% bowling.
Oh, that's a very specific. He kind of had that narrowed down to a very specific number there.
Yeah,
I want to know what the other 0.5% are. Yeah.
Yeah. And he wants to say hello to everyone in Broken Arrow supporting him and his grandparents that may be watching at home. So, pretty cool.
That's fantastic that they came all the way from Oklahoma.
Yeah, we've got kids from all over. We actually have 26 states, including Hawaii and Canada, bowling this weekend.
I would say one of the kids in the presentation yesterday said they were from Hawaii, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, that's...
We have 50 first-time SYC families, which is what you kind of keyed into in your seminar. A lot of the...
Yeah.
Which I think it's great because the kids that are at their first SYC usually take advantage of the seminars, which those are the kids you really want to be talking to.
Yeah, I think I think one of the great things that SYC and Storm does in general is we try to educate some of the younger bowlers.
Yeah.
I think there's a pretty big lack of education in the bowling industry in general. And how things aren't, it's just we've always done it that way.
Sure.
And I think SYC is a kind of a bridge and kind of help some of these younger kids get a head start.
So, game 3 here, you've been watching, obviously. Now, did the short pattern transition quickly, in your opinion, or
yeah,
kind of do what you thought it would do? Or?
They're a little trickier than I thought.
Okay.
This surface is 27 or 28 years old. It was put in 98, I believe. I think right around there, 98, 99. And so the track is very, very dominant in this center. And I think that, going back to the conversation I had with Justin is I feel like you can't keep it right in front of you. You got to go away from it a little bit. And then when you do, if you don't have enough surface, the ball wants to be too responsive. So I think Max over on 46, I think he's doing the right thing. He's kind of in around like 11, 12, trying to get it to 4 to 5 pretty fast. But if your angles aren't right, then they look really hard.
Yeah.
It's the ball is, you got to get the ball to slow down really fast here. Even though that's kind of we think, oh, my ball's hooking too much or too soon, right? It's getting offline, so everybody wants to grab the shinier balls, and it's kind of the opposite. We got to get it to stop a little sooner. They're going to be interesting games, games 4 and 5, especially on the boys' side when they with the more rev rate and they have to move further left to see what happens as to how they break down.
I
It's got a pin in the cover.
yeah. Now they're calling it in.
Okay.
I tried to grab them, but sometimes the kids don't always look up before they go.
Yeah,
start to
yeah,
bowl.
they don't usually sometimes always pay attention to those things like that, but that's okay. But yeah, I think they're gonna be
Tricky.
they're gonna be tricky.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be interested to see how we've still got a couple games left on this, but it'd be interesting to see how the medium plays because again the track is gonna be so dominant. So I think people are gonna see their ball hook and want to go too far left, too fast.
Well, and the patterns this week, Kegel designs all the patterns, and they did look a little trickier than some of the SYC ones that we've had. They're getting these kids ready for junior gold in the summer months coming up.
Absolutely, I think it's great.
Yeah.
That they do that, and I just walking through yesterday, and they're always going to play. Practice session always plays different.
Sure.
We all know that, but the medium pattern didn't look. I thought that was the trickiest one, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And there's this one's a 37-foot pattern, but the 42, as much hook as this center has, probably played closer to like 39 feet.
Yeah.
And to me, that's always the trickiest distance.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of on that. It's not short, but it's in that medium range, and there's a bunch of different angles, and if your angles aren't right, then they're going to be really hard.
Yeah. Now, I didn't look at the distance this year for Queens, but 37 to 39 is always what they kind of put down at Queens, and I think it is incredibly tricky.
Yeah.
Because you can tackle it from, like you said, from so many different ways.
I think Kegel and Nick, they've done especially with Kegel and Nick, there's a lot of variety.
Yeah.
And he makes you kind of pull out some of the tools in your bag, whether it's throwing it slower, changing your rotation, making sure your angles are right. It's not just let's see how fast we can get left and throw it over there.
Yeah.
So it develops, some of these kids getting some different skill sets, adding some physical tools to their bag, whether it's rolling it more or, rotating it more, changing ball speed.
So Keegan wants to know, how are the lefties going to score-wise with how this center's characteristics are playing? So maybe he's watching Micah here and wondering how his day is going to look like.
I think as long as he can get it left fast, he's going to be fine. It's going to be the ones where he doesn't quite get it left, and then it's going to want to, it's not going to want to respond quick enough.
Sure.
So I think he's got to get it left and get it left fast. He should actually probably be able to throw similar type of balls. He's probably going to throw a urethane, I would think, on the medium, and then the long. Hopefully, he has a big slow ball, like a harsh, an ion max or something like that to kind of keep in a similar zone, and then just and go from there. I think the lefties that do the right thing are going to have the big advantage this week.
Yeah.
Justin was in this booth, and Justin practices here a lot, and that's he bowls really well in here, and just because the left is the track. The track on the right side is from, with as much wear and tear as this place has, probably from 7 to 12, 13. On the left side, it's not. It's probably more from 7 out. So he can kind of keep it in that tube, and he should be able to have basically free friction. It's just, is he going to use it the right way? He got away with one there.
Yeah, he did. I'll take it though. So we have young Gavin Murray here. He did have a shout out for someone at home. He wanted to say hello to Bella Castillo.
Okay.
So Bella's a bright and shiny two-handed bowler too.
Absolutely.
She's up and coming.
Yeah, Bella is very talented.
She is.
She was kind of one of the original girl two-handers.
Yep.
Just kind of watching up and down. I saw a couple more, which is good to see.
Right. So Cameron made a comment too, and he was kind of joking, but he said, "Is this a two-handed tournament?" Which Gavin throws it one-handed, and there are still some, what do we call it, traditional players. But two-handed bowling it's a phenomenon, right? And well, not a phenomenon.
Yeah,
it's here.
Yeah. I was gonna say I don't think it's a phenomenon anymore. I think it's kind of going to be becoming the norm, and I would like to see, the breakdown. And I don't know if that's something you guys keep track of.
Shoot, you know what? This comes up every tournament now, and it's my plea to the USBC every single time. You know how when you fill out a sanction card, they do left-handed and right-handed? I really want them to add one-handed, two-handed to it, because then we could track it.
Yeah, we're going to at TurboTech. We're going through and when somebody comes in for a lesson for the first time.
Yeah.
We're going to implement something where they have to kind of fill out like a, like when you go to the doctor, like
Yeah.
kind of like a get to know you type of thing.
Right.
That's one of the things that we're going to be doing. One-handed, two-handed.
Yeah.
And we're seeing an influx of two-handers, and it's not just people that are starting out. You're seeing a lot of conversions, like kids that start out one-handed. That's we've had a kid he's been coming to TurboTech for 3 years, and my first lesson with him. I was like, couldn't get him to do what we were trying to do. It's like, just throw a shot two-handed for me.
Yeah.
After he threw 2 shots, I said, you're a two-hander, and he's like, okay, and he's loving it, and it makes the game it's fun, right? It's easier to hook it.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of these kids want to do first starting out.
Now, do you have adults that you've converted to two-handed as well?
A few, yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, Adam, when I was still living in Lansing, Adam Quishan, one of the owners here, we switched him to two-handed probably 4 or 5 months ago.
Okay.
So, and I think he bowled his first 700 as a two-hander, maybe a month or so ago.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and I think we're very close. We already have Nora out there on the PWBA tour this year. She's our first full-time PWBA two-hander.
I would be shocked if she doesn't make a show this year.
Agreed.
I would be very surprised. I think she's the best two-handed female I've ever seen.
Yeah, she's fantastic.
She's awesome.
Yeah, and as soon as she figures it out, just kind of
Once
transition.
Yeah, once she gets her feet wet a little
Yeah.
bit and gets a little comfortable, and it's adjustment coming over there from over here.
Yeah.
Being gone and the travel and bowling that many games in one day and stuff like that. I think once she figures it out, she'll be a household name.
But there's also a lot of two-handed young ladies in college right now that are kind of finishing up those 4 years. So I think we'll see more and more that go out and bowl on tour.
Yeah, and I think going back into the collegiate ranks, I think in the next 5 to 10 years, when you go back and you're watching a collegiate tournament, I think you'll see probably 95% of them being two-handers.
Yeah.
I think unless we're an EJ Tackett, Dom Barrett, Chris Prather with that that rev rate, I think the one-hander that puts their thumb in it is going to be a little bit of a dinosaur.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate to say that, but
Yeah.
it's the game has evolved, and we have to evolve with it.
Totally. Yeah, I always tell people, tennis had the same thing. One-handed backhands came around, and some people were like, "Oh, don't do a one-handed backhand,"
Yeah.
but they were so much freer for people, and you could get into your position quicker. So
You can create more power.
Exactly.
Right. I mean,
yeah.
and that's the modern game now. Is it's not like we have to split one board at 45 feet. Right.
Right.
It's how much area can we create, and can we do it with power and speed? And two-handed is the easiest way to do that.
For sure. Adam's actually listening. You're the one that went to two-handed. He says you're an amazing coach.
Well, thank you, Adam.
Yeah, you are an amazing coach. We ever hear a lot of the kids that are working with you in this area. Your name pops up a lot.
Well,
so.
thank you. I appreciate that. I've been fortunate to work with some great kids in this area. So, and they're good bowlers, but they're great kids as well.
Well, and I think it's important people know, like Turbo, they've been a supporter of the SYC since day one. We've been saying it all weekend, but the TurboTech's a fantastic facility that I don't think everyone knows about yet.
Yeah, and that's part of my role that I was commissioned with, is how do we make that more of a household name.
Yeah.
I think, and not to step on their toes, but Kegel Training Center is fantastic, but not everyone has access to get to Florida.
Right.
Or the resources, and we're located a little bit more centrally in the part of this country. So it's, some people that can't make it to Kegel, or I've had people drive up from Tennessee, or even I got some guys that are going to come from New York. It's another resource to kind of help grow bowling and help, especially the youth bowlers get better.
Yeah, I think it's great.
Yeah.
So Gabe was on a 4-bagger, got it a little right, paid the ultimate price.
Yeah, I think you can. I didn't see that shot, but I'm guessing he maybe missed it at the bottom a little bit, or the ball, something didn't. The ball kind of fell off the cliff instead of slowing down and reading it.
Scores are posted on Bowl Metrics. Keegan wants you to open a facility in Australia.
Well, if you're willing to pay for that, Keegan, then we can,
You'll negotiate.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Dennis agrees. Need more facilities like that only helps the game more. I think we all feel that way, right?
Right. I think that's one of the, going back to, what we talked about is a little bit of, understanding surface. I think we need to do a better job educating, especially the kids. And I think the kids are way smarter now. They have more resources. YouTube, Facebook. Just got to make sure we're getting the right information out there.
Yeah.
That was one of the things that kind of got brought up yesterday as well. It's just because we got to make sure just that the correct information and filtering out some of the stuff that's maybe more of an old school thought.
Phil says, "Good job, Coach."
Phil.
Platko.
Oh, hi Phil. Where's my coffee?
All right, so we are wrapping up. This is game number 3, right? No.
Yep, this will be game 3. Yep.
Yes. This is the first time I'm actually getting to watch bowling today, so. Short pattern does, as always, look.
Yeah.
It's the trickiest one. What do you tell kids? I feel like sometimes they put it in their head too, the short pattern, like that it's going to be hard or it's their most difficult pattern.
Yeah, I think that's whenever most of the people that we have lessons with that's the pattern that they like. What type of pattern you string on? Usually it's short, and I think it's because of we don't necessarily practice on it enough, and then when we do, we don't use the right type of ball motion, unless it's urethane, right? Urethane's kind of the go-to on short. And then even when we have the urethane, we don't, most of the time, it's not enough surface on the urethane, and then we don't have the balls that chase it, the progression's correct, right? I put 500 in my urethane ball, but then my next ball's at, 4,000 or whatever it may be, right? We've got to kind of have those progressions and, okay, well, what's after the urethane? Like Justin and I were talking about, when I was his rep for a little bit, we would hit balls with 360 or 180. I think some of the adults and some of the younger kids are afraid to use surface.
Sure.
We don't want to necessarily. Kind of been told we don't want our ball to hook early, right? But that's what urethane does. Urethane slows down the soonest. We just got to have that. We got to kind of get out of that mindset that our ball slowing down early is a bad thing.
Yeah, that is the hardest part is changing mindset, right?
Right.
When they have it in their head. I'm just gonna read. We had Mr. Jacob Fester when he stepped back up. Jacob threw a great shot. He's on a turkey, but he wrote down that he plays golf, which this facility, if you're a bowler and a golfer, this is the place to be.
Yeah, they got 27 holes, and they also have an indoor simulator. It's fantastic. Like this is
great job by Micah.
Yep. This is another, if you like to golf and bowl, this is the place in this area. So
yeah, that simulator that they opened, that's where the kids they're using that as a paddock this weekend. But I'm sure when the kids are walking in, they're like,
yeah,
I want to play.
I was gonna say, yeah, I had the chance to do it once, and it's an awesome place.
Yeah, it's amazing. And I have seen more bowls start adding things like that, and I think it's great. It's a great addition.
it's not a, unfortunately we can't just be a, 60 lane bowling center anymore and that you rely that on as your main source of revenue. Things changed and, leagues, you don't have double shifts of league every night anymore. So got to kind of do something to, to get people in the center and stay there. So.
Great double by Nathan there.
Yeah, that was a great shot.
Yeah. They're figuring it out just in time to move to the next pair.
They're starting to stretch a little bit.
Yeah.
Creating a little bit of hold down lane.
Max here, he has a really solid game on 46.
Yeah, he throws it really good.
He's from the Ohio area. Yeah.
He's kind of doing the right thing. He's getting it pretty steep, getting it to the right pretty fast with the purple. Getting some hold with his angle.
Keegan wants to know what the food is like at Royal Scott.
Oh, they have fantastic food. They have great pizza. Oh, Jacob.
If you stick around, we'll tell you in lunch because we're all going to eat lunch here.
Absolutely.
Yes, Dennis said that they're having centers that add volleyball courts too. It's another one.
Yep.
So after each game, the kids move 3 pairs to the right. They skip 3 pairs to the right,
Yep.
excuse me. So they'll make that big move like they've been doing all day. Adds that extra layer of difficulty moving throughout the house.
Yep. Oh.
Nice cover by Jacob.
Yep, that's a great spare. Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see how they handle the flip. This lane 37 through 60 was an add-on.
Oh, okay.
So it's a little bit different. Most of the leagues used to be down in that end, and still the majority of them are. So this end plays a little different. I think this lane's the ball gets through it a little cleaner here and comes off it a little harder. Down there, they feel tighter because the fronts dig in a little more, and so the ball doesn't want to pop off the spot as hard. So it'll be interesting to see how the kids manage that, especially some of the boys that are a little further left. We'll be interesting to see what they do when they get down, like when they go down to 1 and 2 or 3 and 4, that type of.
Well, and I think it's always interesting too because at the SYC, it's not like junior gold where every house only has the gender in it. All the genders are mixed together.
Yeah.
So sometimes the girls run into the boys run into the girls transition usually, but and the girls move into the boys.
It kind of depends on if the guys are throwing urethane there, like usually the girls when they move into it, usually the boys just see the girls in the front, like if they're throwing it away from them,
right,
to the right, and usually the girls see the guys down the lane. Because they usually don't get in maybe that far as to where the guys are.
Yeah.
Maybe on the short pattern because the guys started a little further, so when the girls move into it, they might see it.
Yeah, maybe like game 5-ish.
Yeah.
That's usually, unless you're like Gianna Brandolino.
Yeah.
She's probably in it a little bit.
Yeah, she would be kind of one of the exceptions more than the rule. That looks like.
She might be getting close. I think if you're watching we do have some young ladies moving in next game. I bet they're going to come to this pair.
Yeah, scores still look to seem a little bit lower even than I was expecting.
That's what I'm thinking too.
Yeah.
Nicole, who's here, she was commentating the first 2 games. She works at Storm, and she saw the patterns and she go, "Oh, this is hard."
Yeah.
So I think she saw that immediately.
Yeah. They don't. I'm trying to remember last year. I think last year they were a little bit on the softer side compared to this, but I don't remember the scoring pace. But I mean, SYC is never usually, they're never quote unquote easy, but I think this is one of the trickier. I think this is going to be like one of the trickier SYCs I've seen in it.
Yeah, I would agree.
Oh.
So Keegan's question has to do with how do you tell what the scoring pace is going to be like in a setting like this? And the answer is we don't, right? Until they start bowling. I mean,
Yeah, I kind of look at it. I kind of look at a couple key factors. Is I look at actually, believe it or not, how the pins are gonna fall. You know, if you go into a center and you kind of like you hit the pins and it sounds like like a dungeon, or that means usually probably the scoring pace is going to be a little slower. And then I look at how much the fronts hook. If the fronts hook a lot, chances are the scoring pace is going to be a little bit lower. Relative, because most of our centers now are a little bit older, so the fronts tend to hook a little bit more everywhere. But I think if I go in a center and I see the fronts are on fire, then I know that the scoring pace is probably going to be pretty low. But you're right, we usually don't know until we see the pattern, see how the bowlers are going to attack them.
right. Yeah, I think you can gauge it, and then sometimes, I mean, you've seen it on the PBA Tour, though, where you think it's going to be completely different.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, and that's maybe a little bit different animal, because the guys, even though there's a bunch of different styles, they're, they tend to break down the patterns the same.
Yeah.
And you've got whatever 60, 64 guys, and they all tend to do usually something similar at the start. Here with different, guys and girls and different age groups, the transition is going to be a little trickier.
Miss Savannah Portillo making her way, SYC champion. I think you've worked with Savannah in the past, or currently, right?
Yeah. I grew up with her mom, so I've known Savannah a long time.
That's cool.
Yeah. So. Very talented young lady.
It's not how Anthony Swanson wanted to end his game there, but 210 isn't bad.
No, 210.
Take it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think if we look at the scoring pace, 210 is probably a pretty decent score.
Well, Mr. Eric, thank you for joining us. I think we have Mike popping in for the next game to chat some more.
All right. Well, thanks for having me. So,
yeah, we'll get you back in, I'm sure, to
I'll
share some more insights. So
I'll be here all weekend. Thanks, Blair.
Thank you. All right, folks, we're going to take a short break while we're switching out the mic back here, and we will be right back. All right. We have a new person in the chat, or not in the chat, in the booth. Mr. Mike Magla. Oh, Mike.
You're so close.
I know. It's Mike Maglin.
Perfect.
Okay, I did
Perfect.
it. I think I get scared when the L comes out, and then I freak out, and I'm like, no.
It's all right.
Yeah, Mike, you gave a great seminar yesterday. It went long, which is a great thing. We love when people have questions and are hanging out upstairs, and some of the parents, I think, are putting your words into play today.
Yeah, I really enjoyed, working with the parents a little bit, with my background, having where I come from with my father and my son. So I'm kind of that in between that, I feel like we can help the kids a lot with that mental aspect of the game. All these kids out here are so physically talented, but we can see some of their emotions and their focus and attitude sometimes can get the best of them, as they do even in adults still, right?
Yeah, and it's hard, like, as parents, you're having your own emotions, right? And you have a son bowling now
I do,
out there.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
So how's that going?
It's going good. He this is kind of his first run at a big boy tournament. He decided he was going to stop playing baseball this year. He's played baseball since, he could hit and throw and play t-ball, and he says, "Dad, I think I'm ready to go with this bowling thing. Like he's in track and gonna play football this year, but he said bowling's gonna be a sport. So
Wow.
he's kind of soaking it all in. He is struggling a little bit, but once again, we're really focused on the attitude and the focus, and he's enjoying himself out there right now. So
That's great, and
yeah.
it's just the first SYC. So we did have some new ladies joining us, and I think we'll have more. We have Elizabeth Silcox, Dottie Sales, Addison Cole, Kendall Craig, Savannah Portillo, and Logan Arnold. These are the bowlers on 45 and 46, and then we'll introduce the bowlers on 47 and 48. We're wrapping up. Micah Jensen was the high bowler there, 220, nearly clean. One open frame, really hard to do on the short pattern.
Yeah, scores are not really high out there. Sometimes in the short pattern you can get a lot of pins. Their scores are pretty low right now, I'd say, for this pattern. So
Yeah, we were just talking about that. Eric and I, these patterns that Kegel put out are on the trickier side for SYC patterns.
yeah, and I think that's what you want. You want to
Yeah.
really challenge these kids that come out here, and you don't want to make it too easy on them. And
No, and they're still playable because I think that's what we always talk to Kegel about is making a pattern that won't deter someone that it's their first tournament, but also that would challenge someone like, Caitlin Stoll coming up here who's bowled
sure.
PBA Junior. She's bowled on TV. She's on Team USA. You don't want that.
Yeah,
That-
I can attest to that. You
Yeah.
never want to make the pattern so hard that it's so frustrating that the kids don't come back, but you still want to make it challenging enough to where they can see that there's some need for improvement at the end of the weekend. So
Exactly. So tell us a little bit about the happenings at Turbo. We talked to Eric a little bit about his new position. He's very excited to kind of grow the word of Turbo Tech.
yeah, Turbo. We'll start with TurboTech. TurboTech was always just kind of a little side gig that we can all get away from our desks and our day-to-day duties. And a lot of us have a bowling or coaching background that we can get away from the desk an hour or two out of our day and help the bowling community. That's the only thing that TurboTech did for a while, but. We've kind of decided with high school bowling, as you can see in this area, obviously being so big, that we're gonna really, almost copy off what Kegel does, and we're gonna try and get people flying in from across the country, and we're investing some money into the center, and we have Specto and a new lane machine and things like that. Eric's our full-time guy now, in addition to Andrew coming in when he can, and myself and Perry Crowell and Chris Sand as well when he can. So, we got the coaching staff to do that. It's just a matter of now building up our clientele, and getting more people in there now. So we have the knowledge to, I think, really help the bowling community that surrounds the TurboTech. So, but we're getting into trade show season. So, most people that are probably listening think bowling gets slow in the summer, and we're laughing at each other, smiling, and thinking it gets crazy in the summertime.
It sure does, yeah.
We're away from home. I live out of a suitcase for about 6 weeks. We start at Bowl Expo and head to probably about 14 or 15 different distributor trade shows, and before you know it, the fall season is starting. So
it's so nice of them. They take care of their customers and don't overlap, but
yes.
that means that you're on the road every week.
On the road in the summertime for sure. But we love to see our pro shops.
Great.
In the summertime, it's a good to get out of the office, and then when it's done and said, we're happy to be back in the office and be ramped up for the bowling season in the fall. Yeah. Especially in Michigan, we consider it really a season. In the summertime, we're golfing and those types of things, and then when the fall and the cold weather comes, we're in there and enjoying the bowling center again. So
you have these beautiful lakes, and we were talking about like Royal Scott here. They have a golf course attached to it. I mean, it's great. It's beautiful up here.
We were intending on maybe even staying a little late tomorrow. We're like, man, it's just, even for us, it's a little too cold, even being Michiganders, it's just a little too cool for us. This is usually a beautiful 70, 75 degree weekend, and we're barely hitting the 50s out there playing mini golf yesterday. So
I heard we are gonna go above 50 today, which is like celebration.
Yeah.
It's crazy out there. Okay, so 47, 48, we have some new bowlers. We have Chloe Bruce has joined us, Mabel Adams, Hannah Windows, who you see up on 48, Delaney Sherwood, Lane Arnold, who's up on 47, and then Miss Caitlin Stahl, who we mentioned a little earlier. She is an SYC champion, as is Savannah, who's bowling on 45 and 46.
I don't know if you can see it too, but these masking units here are amazing.
Unbelievable. For those at home, that blue masking unit that you see is not just a masking unit, it's a digital board that if we had more time, we have these pennants that we put up, And we were talking about it at the
Next
desk.
year.
Yeah, digitalize the pennants,
Yes. How
right?
cool would that be?
Yeah, it'd be so cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
It'd be even more fun. Well, now we're getting. I was like, we could rotate it, right? Like,
One
yeah,
thing at a time out
yeah,
there.
really. Royal Scott's listening to me like, nah, no, just make one.
Right. Now, are you guys scheduled to come back here next year then?
I don't know. We're finalizing the schedule
Okay.
right now. I'm not sure if we're ready to announce it quite yet, but this has been a great area. Lansing and the Lansing Sports Commission, they're fantastic here. They're great to work with. They even did that. They donated last night
Yeah.
to our social.
Yeah, it
which
was
is
fun to see everybody get
fantastic.
out and have some mini golf and get outside and realize that it's not about bowling. It's about spending time with your family and just
Exactly.
enjoying, especially on a holiday weekend like this. They have the turnout like this is, it's just amazing. So
For sure, yeah, sold out fields. We didn't have that. I mean, we had some cancellations leading up, but the last couple days, everyone that was planning on coming came, which is great. So, all right, I have a turbo question. What's your most popular color grip?
I'll make you guess what you think.
Okay.
We'll start
Well,
there.
I mean,
number one I think is easy, but number
black,
two,
right?
black
Yeah.
is definitely
Yeah.
number one. But
Yeah.
number two, we'll let you take a
All
guess
right,
on number two.
It has to be something crazy, right? I'm going green.
No.
No?
I believe off the top of my head, green is fourth or fifth.
Okay.
It's in the middle there somewhere.
All right. White?
No. White is more popular than you think.
Yeah.
Like personally, I ask a lot of people, do you like white grips? No, they get dirty, but
Yeah.
we sell a lot of them, so it's really weird how some people are like, yeah, I hate white, but then we sell so many of them.
You're like,
No, number
yeah.
two is ice actually.
Ice. Oh yeah, that clear. Yeah.
Yeah, people
okay.
like that clear. Like the clear, it does
Forgot about
match
that one.
everything.
Yeah.
For the most part. But then there's that factor that everybody feels it's a little tackier. So it has a little bit
Yeah.
of special feel to the ice grip. Yeah, ice is number two, and then you get kind of orange and yellow in there in the 3 and
Okay.
4, and I believe green is then in the 5 spot.
Okay,
so.
and then you guys added pink this year.
We
right?
did add
Yeah.
pink is right in the middle then. Pink did a very,
Okay.
very good job this year. And as you guys know, it seems like so many balls have pink in them.
I know, right?
It's crazy. And the hard thing about for us is you guys have at least a little idea how well a bowling ball is probably going to do at release point. We have no idea, and then it sells, and then we're kind of like, oh, now we need more pink grips, and
yeah.
we're behind on them because now everything else is
Right.
So yeah, pink grips did very, very well this year, especially since there's so many pink bowling balls.
Yeah.
Years ago, pink was only in entry-level balls and middle performance. Now they're, Iron Max. It's in the highest performance of bowling balls,
Yeah, people aren't afraid, right? I
Yeah.
know Pearl did really well. That one had a lot of pink in it.
Yeah.
Typhoon.
Typhoon now has a pink logo, so there's just so many balls that have some type of pink in them. So
Yeah, and it's not just for the young ladies. The guys
Yeah,
don't mind it, right?
absolutely.
So, yeah.
hmm
That's cool.
Yeah, most people don't know this too. I always throw this interesting fact out there when we're talking about turbo, but we make 554 different types of grips. When
I
you
had
add
no
up
idea.
when
Yeah.
you add up every color, every size, every style,
That's a
we make
lot.
we make 554 different types of grips.
Yeah.
That's a lot of different grips
Man, that
when you
is-
think about, and
yeah.
hard to keep up production in that, right?
Yeah. And
you
you do make them in the U.S.
we do make
Yeah.
them all in house actually.
Yeah.
We make them in house, we box them in house, ship them. Everything is done right in our factory.
Yeah,
So.
I toured it years ago, and I don't know if you do open tours or not.
We don't really per se do open,
Yeah.
but we kind of show you around a little bit.
Yeah. It's fascinating. If
it
you
is
do
a-
get the opportunity to go.
Yeah, and it's a
yeah.
crazy process. You guys know how hard it is to make a bowling ball, and
Yeah.
it's similar to a grip to get it the same exact size
Right.
every time.
Right. And
Um,
feel the same.
Yeah, it's a long process to make a grip. It is not just basically making putting water in an ice cube tray and you pop it out. It is not that easy. It is much more
You
complicated
guys
than that.
wish it was.
Yeah,
It'd be
yeah,
nice, right?
right, yeah.
But no, and I hear a lot of, I use all turbo grips, and I think the feel is bar none, right? I love it.
I'd love to hear that. Yeah, and then it's great to see all the support I hear with all these young kids. There's a lot of turbo logos out here. A lot of their parents supporting and wearing our apparel. We really, appreciate that. So coming full circle, that we support them and they support us back. So we love
Plus,
that.
it's very rare anymore that I don't see the kids with interchangeable systems.
Oh yeah, unless they're two-handed.
Oh, that too. Yeah, good point. Yeah, those
But
lucky
yes,
ones.
yeah,
That,
absolutely. It just makes it so much easier,
Yeah.
from a bowler and a pro shop standpoint. So. Are they in game 4 here
this
starting?
is
starting
game 4. Yep. I was trying to let all the score. I didn't catch the scorers go past, but it's always tricky at the beginning of games because you open it and then
Yeah.
only half games in. looks like we have most of the games in. Caitlin Stoll actually. Let me just. Oh no, we're missing some fields. But Caitlin is having a great day. She started 207, 268, and then 199.
It's a great start on this.
Yeah, plus 74. So that currently she's in first, but as you can see, our scores coming through and putting some scores in. So let's see who else does stand out. We had Amelia Drost, 255.
Yeah, there's not a lot of big games, so anything above 240 is a big game out there right now.
Huge, yeah. 2-0s. Look at like the red
Yeah.
circles. I have
Yeah.
Bowlmetrics up for those of you at
Yeah.
home, and if you open it and show the details, you get a little red circle for the games that are in over 200, and there are not many red
Yeah, there's
circles.
not a lot out there right now.
Yeah, like you mentioned, the short pattern is just proving to be
Yeah.
pretty tricky.
I think it's a good word for it,
side,
tricky. I think that's a really good word for it out there. So
Yeah, boys side, there's a few more 200s, which you would expect.
yeah, and I think there's so many different, with this short pattern, there's a lot of girls, speaking of the girls, they're playing a lot of different angles, which, that can result in a lot of different scores, a lot of different traffic in different areas. So
Yeah. It always amazes me. We come up to Michigan, like even last year when we came up, it was the first time we were in Michigan, so this is our second time, but there's a lot of bowlers in Michigan that don't really travel because of the MJMAs
Yeah.
and just the bowling up
Yeah.
here. You don't need to.
yeah,
So we see a lot of great, solid players
yeah.
up here that we've never really seen.
Yeah,
at a
talking
tournament
about
before.
impossible lane play, like MGMAs are, to the point where they're brutal. Like,
Yeah.
and it's good for the kids, but it's a reality check for a lot of them that it's a spare shooting contest. You're closer to bowling on the Peterson, if you know what that is, than you are bowling on your league shot. Much closer to bowling on the Peterson. Like where you say this is harder,
Yeah.
even harder than we'll call it a middle of the road pattern, but
MJMA is a whole new level.
Yeah, you bring your spare ball and might as well bring a couple other balls because it's not important. They don't want you to rely on that.
No.
They want you relying on shot making and decisions and spare shooting, really. So
Which is great for the kids to learn, but you don't hear, like, sometimes you hear the adults complaining about sport shots. Not as much anymore. I think they're kind of
yeah,
getting on board, but the kids, you never hear them. They're like, most of the time you hear kids say, I don't want to bowl in house shot.
Yeah.
I want to bowl in sport
yeah,
shot.
they're growing up in that era where it's more normal. You
Yeah.
know.
Got a shout out for Delaney Sherwood here. She's on 48. She's not up yet, but I do have some bios. Let's see if we.
Oh, nice.
This is always the guessing game, though. If
Gotcha,
kids
yeah.
fill out their bios, some do, some don't. So.
Yeah, I saw that when you walk in, you can fill out your bio. So
Yeah. So Hannah Windows. This is her first SYC. She's from Freeport, Pennsylvania. She bowls at. Oh, she bowled at Turner's Dairy Farm tournament at Nesbitt Lanes, the famous Nesbitt.
Mhm.
She was still new to the sport, and she shot a 696 scratch series, beating both the boys and girls
Nice.
to move on to the finals. So new to the sport, she plans on studying forensic science chemistry in college and wants to be a pathologist. So she's on a science track.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. It helps to be smart when you bowl, honestly. Like, a lot of these people work so physically, but I heard someone wants to be a doctor out there today, and they couldn't find a bowling school that had doctor program, so there's some struggles out there too when you go through some of that. So
For sure. Yeah, Caitlin, of course, here. She's off to Jack State next year. She's won PBA Junior National Championship. She's also won a PWBA regional already.
Oh, I didn't know that. Wow, really?
Yeah, she won in 2024 in Mooresville. So, solid player, has been for a long time. There's a group, like Caitlin Stoll in her age group, that these girls all have been bowling since the U12. Like, they all made
really?
the finals of Junior Gold when they were really young, and they've all stuck with it,
Mhm.
which is just amazing. You hear names like Abigail Starkey, Gianna Brandolino,
Yeah.
Caitlin Abagania,
Mhm.
Avery Dugan. So it's just an incredible group that some of these girls, I'm sure, are watching like, okay, it's time for you to age out. Like,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
move
I
on.
mean, that's tough, right? Like,
Got Chloe Bruce here. This is her first SYC as well. Hers like pretty good. I like her solid game.
Yeah, a lot of these girls, you're in front of us here, you're watching how good of spare shooters they are too. Not picking on the boys, but I am gonna say that it looks like the girls spend a little bit more time on their spare shooting. I don't know
Yeah.
if it's a guy's mentality at that age, especially them obviously being more two-handers.
Right.
But I'm just watching every girl make spares, take 2 pins on the spares, as you can see Chloe's doing here. So
Yeah. I love this answer. We asked them like what your proudest bowling achievement is, and she says she's just thankful for bowling because the tournaments may be competitive, but you become friends with people around, and she's gained something from bowling, whether it's friends or knowledge. She's always gaining something.
yeah,
So.
yeah. I mean, I talked about that at the seminar yesterday a little bit too. Like, when some of my students struggle, we always remind them, like, why did you start doing this? And, you didn't do it for money. You didn't do it for scholarship money back then. So, like, you picked up a ball to have fun.
Right.
Go back to that, a birthday party bumper bolt, like you did it. Like, don't lose
Yeah.
sight of that. That's the important thing we can teach to these kids that, you and I are in this industry, but at the end of the day, like, we enjoy what we do because at one point we enjoyed picking up a ball,
Right.
So
yeah. It was just fun on a Saturday morning, right?
Absolutely.
Like that's how you all get started. But birthday parties,
absolutely.
that's a huge way
Yeah,
people get into
absolutely.
bowling now. Just one more thing for Chloe. She has a shout out to her best friend Ryan, who's the reason that she's here today. Wants to shout out to her parents. And
We'll hope
Justin.
Ryan's listening or comes back and listens. So.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah, it's a long day for these kids. They got 10 games today.
A lot.
So,
yeah, you see it down at the U12 by like game 7, 8.
They're
They're like, okay.
They're checking out. They need some. They need a lunch break.
Yeah. Yeah, and they will have a pretty long lunch break today, actually, because game 4 we got another hour, so we don't come back until 2:30.
Nice.
So they should have at least a full hour, if not more.
But I think that's good for them too.
Totally.
Like going back when we were younger again, that we'd bowl all day. I tell my kid that all the time. Like, get out there and just bowl till you can't do it anymore.
100%,
Like at this age, it's just so important just to get on the lanes. Like, you don't always have to have a coach there. Like, just get out there and get reps in. That's important.
Good job by Savannah. Oh. Turned around. She wanted that 10 pin to go. Not sure. Oh, we might have to be waiting on a ball on 47.
Looks like it.
Miss Mabel here, who's up, she's the one waiting on a ball. She's first SYC. There's a lot of first timers, like we said.
Yeah, that's great to see. Where's she coming from?
She's from Defiance, Ohio.
Okay.
She made first team in her conference for 3 years. She plays flute and piccolo, and she's an officer for her DECA chapter, and she is currently a valedictorian in her class.
She's got a lot going for her.
Another smarty.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But you're right. As these kids, college bowling comes up a lot. They're looking at different college programs, and we hear like engineering. There's certain schools that kids that want to go into engineering go to. Some of the business kind of you can find that at most of the schools, but it's an important topic because you don't want to make a school work. You really want to find a school that has your major, right?
Absolutely. I mean, bowling is probably first for a few select, individual out there, but for the most part, it's still about the college education. You mentioned some names that they're probably going to go on maybe after college and bowl, whether it's the PWA or PBA, but that's a very select few. Just as, like your kid going to play high school basketball, like we all have those dreams, but at the end of the day, like we still have to rely on our income and, you're going to get that 4-year education and finish with your degree, and doesn't mean you can't bowl after and have both at the same time. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah, you mentioned Andrew Anderson and Justin Knowles is here this weekend. Both, they do some coaching on the side.
Absolutely,
and,
absolutely, yeah. A lot of guys, they're or girls. You're involved in many different ways, as you know.
For sure.
Once you're into this, there's so many things that you can do.
Yeah, and there's a lot. You mentioned Kegel, but Turbo, right? Like Storm, we all work at companies that hire bowlers. So I tell these kids, like, don't forget.
Yeah, I had people asking, are you guys hiring over the summer? Do you need an intern?
Yeah.
I said, where are you coming from? It's kind of far.
Yeah.
That was a good spare by Mabel there after waiting for about 5 minutes for her ball there.
Yes. Good mental mental tenacity, right? The one thing I always say too when we come here, and you see this a lot at TurboTech, I'm sure, but the coaching over the years, you can tell how much better it's gotten.
Oh yeah.
Because these kids, like, you don't see kids falling off at the foul line very frequently anymore.
Yeah.
Like,
I
they're
don't
all
remember kids
balanced.
looking this good. Either that or that's just us getting older. I'm not sure which one it is. But
I don't think. Well, actually, I know we were not as good as they were.
yeah, I would agree. I would completely agree with that.
Yeah, but it's just amazing to me every time, like the balance at the line.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah. These, like I said,
incredible.
these kids work really, really hard at their physical game. And it's really nice to see that everyone's a little bit different and unique, but they're still able, as you said, to post shots, and they have good swing, good footwork, things like that. It's crazy how no two bowlers are really alike. It's one interesting thing about the sport when you look at somebody,
Yeah.
you know, like.
Yeah, it's they're all snowflakes, right?
Yep.
Which makes coaching hard and easy at the same time.
That's a really good. It makes it hard and easy because
Yeah.
you're really not trying to replicate anybody,
Yeah.
but you're also still have to get to that same end point. We have the same kind of goals. But I like the snowflake analogy.
Yeah. It's a good one. It's like we're missing a game on someone. I'm getting some texts.
These kids take this very seriously too. My son started on the wall. I noticed as I walked back to the turbo table and walking back and forth. Well, it's very quiet in here today. Like there,
Yeah.
I built some adult vents in here where it's loud and talk. Like it is so quiet in here. Like
Yeah.
it's interesting how serious these kids are, which is great that they're taking it seriously. So
Well, that's a comment we get a lot when the pros will come. Like they're baffled. Like Kyle Troop, I remember he came in one time and he's like, "They're like mini pros." Like he's like, "They have better mental games than I do."
yeah. And speaking of that too, some of these kids' backpacks, I moved a couple of them. They're like 80 pounds. I feel like they have 2 bowling balls in some of these backpacks. Like we didn't have backpacks when we were younger either. We used to have those big monster truck, triple deluxe
Bags,
rollers.
yeah.
Like the backpack game has definitely made things a little easier. I feel like.
I think I had one of those 4-ball bags one time. I hated
Oh,
it,
yeah.
but like it, yeah, that was just
Yeah. Can
yeah.
you imagine those being everywhere in the bowling
No.
alley nowadays? Like.
Triple totes are the way to go.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean these kids. I mean they're getting experience on everything, right? They're getting experience traveling.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the kids, they have like a flight delay or something, and they deal with it on an SYC weekend. And then if it happens, they're not as stressed the next time.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, and it's a whole experience. Just taking my son for example. Staying in a hotel. Waking up early, getting here. It's not like you're bowling your, Wednesday night league at 6 o'clock at night. I'm like, you got to get up and stretch a little. Like there's
Right?
it's different,
Yeah,
right? Like
yeah.
you don't have the access to your own shower and stuff at home. Like
Right.
it's, on the road's not
Snacks,
easy.
yeah.
People don't realize the tour guys. Like it's not.
Oh no.
It's not easy. That's part of learning your first couple of years on tour, just as it is some of these young kids coming in here. Like. And they bowl bad, and that's okay. Like it's part of the learning experience, everything that surrounds this,
Yeah.
So.
And it's important to learn. Like I tell this story a lot, but I had a really good friend who was a fantastic bowler as a kid, and she wanted to go out on tour, and she bowled half of the PWBA tour, and decided figured out she didn't like to travel.
Mm-hmm.
And so these kids figure it out at a younger age, and if they don't really like it, then they're like, man, I don't think I want to bowl full time on tour.
Yeah.
I might want to bowl the majors or
Yeah,
whatever.
bowl some regionals in your area or something like that. Yeah,
but
absolutely.
you're way ahead of the game if you figure that out when you're a teenager.
Absolutely. And some kids love living out of their suitcase. And, they're eating out every night.
Yeah.
And, like playing on their phones in the hotel room. And it's also funny too. We talk about how things have changed the jerseys. Over the, from what many 10, 15 years ago, we were wearing polos with embroidery, and now these kids have such cool looking jerseys on, and no two jerseys are alike once again. Everyone has their own style, and you can express it through what you're wearing out there. It's really neat to see.
Yeah, I saw someone on my Facebook. They had the old placards with their names.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, "What do I do with these now? Like, what are you supposed to? What's the proper disposal of this?"
Yes.
So shout out, we saw Kendall Craig. I'm not sure if we mentioned it. She's heading off to SCAD. She just signed another great college bowling program. So this is the time of year where I start to hear like where people are going.
Yeah.
Which is exciting too. It's sad to see kids go. A lot of the girls have told us, and some of the boys too, this is their last SYC because some can't make it to the June event, or some of the college kids are even moving in June,
Yeah.
doing like a short summer semester.
Yes.
So, like Caitlin Stahl, this is her last SYC. She's not going to be bowling in Delaware next month. So,
Where's she off to?
she is going to Jack State.
Okay, that's what you said
with
that,
Shannon,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Great program, obviously, over there.
Yeah. I like that there's opportunities growing for the boys too. There's always been a growth of girls programs, although everyone sees the news lately, which is terrible.
Unfortunately, those are two really good programs too.
Yeah.
Not that you want to see any ever go away, but
no, not ones that have national titles. Come on,
correct, yeah.
Come on, people.
Yeah.
But lots of boys programs though, lots of growth, which is great.
Yeah, it's just great to see all these kids put all this time and have somewhere to go.
100%. Yeah, so it looks like 45 and 46, these ladies, minus, it's like Dottie, I think is her name.
Dottie Sales?
Yeah,
maybe?
Dottie had a 197, but this might be a tricky pair. It's always interesting when the girls come into the guys' pairs to see, like...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that traffic is much different.
Yeah, it's a brutal move.
And that's part of this, is making those quick moves, because as they get at more elite levels, that becomes the biggest differences, We always say who's playing the chess game the best, who's making the fastest move, who's ahead of who, and, because as you look at a lot of these girls, they're all physically talented, or boys, obviously. Yeah. So it's just, who's making the right decisions out there sometimes.
Yeah, and sometimes, like I was talking to a U15 girl parent yesterday, and he said that his daughter has finally started to see transition quicker. Mm-hmm. And he's like, it's made such a huge difference. We're not a game behind. Mm-hmm. And he was talking about how excited and as a coach,
those breakthrough moments are fun when you see them in your student or your own kid. So for sure,
you just have to tell them like, have patience, like it'll happen.
Absolutely.
And you say those words in your head, you're like.
I mean, that's the gratifying thing about being a coach sometimes is when you see those aha moments of kids breaking through and then coming back and telling you they shoot their high game on the middle of a Sunday. I'm at home and they text you and say, hey,
Yeah, those are the moments you're putting all the hours in for.
Absolutely.
Delaney has a whole fan club in the chat. I love it. Everyone's rooting on Delaney Sherwood on 48.
She's got a double going here.
Yeah.
They started off kind of good on this pair, and it looks like it's getting a little tricky here.
I think the transition's going to be harder for the girls because what the boys were doing was just jumping left, right? Mm-hmm. But the girls hesitate, right? A lot of them are not sure their ball's going to come back.
Yeah.
That's the hardest thing when you're a girl, a little lower rev rate, maybe a little higher speed.
Especially when you're crossing with the boys, too. So.
Yeah. No. So I think Hannah needs to take a little step left. She could keep the speed going, but... And then it's hard, too, like, for the bowlers, like, with your son, right? It's a first SYC. You don't want to shove too much knowledge down him, right? Like, you could see what he needs to do.
Yes.
But you only can give him so much.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to... Yeah, we compare it to other sports, too. Like, if your kid was playing football or baseball, you can't tell him what pitches to swing at, right? Like, so you have to kind of let them start doing it on their own.
Right.
Like you were just mentioned, that girl yesterday was going through learning the transition.
Yeah.
Like, if we do it for them, they don't experience it. They don't grow. I could tell him to make every move, every frame, but that's not going to make him a good bowler.
Right.
Especially even going into high school next year. Like.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, because you can't do. I mean, you may miss a match. You may what happens if
Absolutely.
you're a parent that tells your kid every shot? What happens if you're not there?
Yeah, I mean, just like when we parent them though, right? Like we can't tell them to do like they have to do things on their own, you know. So
Yeah, they have to grow up.
and that's a
little
tough
bit.
part about being a parent and a coach, right?
Yeah,
Like I
right.
see a lot of the parents back here, they want to coach all the time. It's hard, like
Yeah.
you know, you want the best for your kid, but I think
Well, and you
sometimes
don't want them to be unhappy, right?
absolutely, but sometimes the best thing for your kid is to unfortunately just let them struggle a little bit. It's hard,
Yeah.
but it really is sometimes the best thing that they need.
Yeah. Yeah. Talk to them after a little bit.
Absolutely.
See, this is why I cloud people. We mentioned Delaney, and
Oh yeah.
I know.
I'm the worst black cloud.
Yeah, me too. I thought maybe the two black clouds could undo themselves, but a more severe black cloud. Oh well.
It looked like she moved a little left there and then didn't hook, so
Yeah,
did make an adjustment.
I thought 45 and 46 the scores were lower, and like you said, they started okay in the beginning, and I think they're just this transition, man. It's gonna be tough.
And you know, this side of the house, you know, these girls I believe started fairly on the low end too. You know, as we know, the house can play much different down here too. So
For sure.
this was the new addition to the house down here too. So
That's what Eric said. I didn't actually know that. I mean,
Yeah.
it looks different, so it makes sense after someone said it was an addition.
and they have a really cool view too. I don't know if you can see on the live stream. There's no poles in the way on this, but there's a little venue above us too, like at the Reno Stadium they used to have. So it's neat to see down on the last, I think, 10 pairs.
Yeah, I
12
walked
pairs.
up there, and it is a cool bird's eye view for
Yeah.
sure. So what's next this summer for you guys?
Bowl Expo.
Bowl Expo?
Actually, no. We got Chrissy and I have a little road trip.
Nice.
We'll be going to the women's in Cleveland.
Yep.
Making an appearance there. Show our ladies we love them and go out there and watch them bowl in Cleveland. We'll head to a distributor for a sales meeting, and then we're gonna head out to the PBA Tour Finals in Pennsylvania for the weekend.
Yeah. So your summer is over.
Yeah,
Or wait,
it hasn't started yet, but it's pretty much booked and over. So
yeah.
squeeze in a couple vacations in between, and Noah's bowling, as I said, and yeah, but it's fun. I love working at Turbo. It's a great family ran business. We're all really close knit there, which is really good. We all rely on each other. We got a lot of good people there. So
You do have a lot of good people. Great job by Caitlin. She's figured it out. Yeah, if this speaks for the pair being tricky, Caitlin has a 115 in the 7th.
yeah, we haven't seen much emotion on this pair. I mean, I couldn't tell if they strike or spare because the emotion looks the same out there right now.
Yeah, it is. It is so tricky.
And judging by practice, I feel this will be the lower scoring. I felt the medium and the longer pattern should score a little bit more just by judging in the practice session. So
That's usually at an SYC, the short pattern's usually the lowest scoring. Sometimes medium can be tricky depending on how people play it. And then the long pattern usually is the highest scoring.
And I think you said earlier, too, I think it makes sense because, where the boys are playing with their high rev rate, where are some of the girls playing, all the different ages, the short pattern can kind of really get muddy out there.
Well, we are going to wrap up this game, and
Already.
I see Nicole already here. So, Mike, thanks for joining us for the whole weekend, and thanks
Absolutely,
for
our
all
pleasure.
that you guys do for the sport
Yeah,
and
glad
the
to be
kids.
here.
We didn't mention because no one at home knows, but you guys passed out little stress balls in
We did.
the SYC gift bags.
Yes.
Which I haven't seen any of them come out. I'd be having my stress ball. with me.
I think we should maybe announce that some of these kids maybe down the block should give a couple of squeezes if they feel like they're struggling a little bit here.
Yeah, we'll make some announcements before the second squad. It's okay to have your stress ball out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because it can be intimidating. You're at a first big tournament. If you walk in and see these mask units, it does have that feel of nationals,
it is.
right?
It makes it look huge in here, so it's a great venue in here.
It's funny because I'm afraid to even say this because now someone will complain about it, but the bowling center actually told us, like, hey, if you get any complaints, about glare.
Oh yes.
Because the white lettering
Uh-huh.
on some lanes is really more prominent than others, but I haven't heard anyone.
Can they
say
tone? Is that
anything.
something they said they can tone down?
They can't tone the coloring or anything down, but they can add. They have like a black screen that the league bowlers can play in, right?
Gotcha.
Give it to the league
Yeah,
bowlers.
yeah, the league bowl. These
Yeah.
young kids who are going off to college next year aren't saying anything, but
Yeah.
no offense to any league bowlers
No,
out there,
no.
but
We love league bowlers.
we
We
do.
are league
We
bowlers.
do. We
Yeah.
do.
But yeah. So I didn't mention it, and I have not heard one person say
Yeah.
it. So, but you
Yeah.
can see.
Yeah, right in front of us. Yeah, you can see the glare even on lane 47 there, that
Exactly.
Lansing logo. So
Yeah.
next year when you guys come back, you'll know not to use white. So
For sure, 100%. Yeah, good deal. Well, Mike, we're gonna wrap this up,
Absolutely.
and then we'll let you go back to your turbo booth.
all right,
and,
thanks so much for
yeah,
having me out here.
Thank you
All right.
for being with us.
Absolutely.
right, hello everybody. We are back, game 5, I think.
Yeah, last game.
Last game, we got the girls in front of us. Again, it is Justin Knowles and Nicole Thomas, and we will be walking you guys through this last game of the short pattern. And feel free to ask us any questions in the comments. We'd love to answer anything you guys need to know.
All right, is this the U18 girls?
I think
U15?
this is U15.
Okay, U15.
Oh, I can look this up. I'll let you know.
It's like they're playing the lanes much straighter, guys.
Yes, this would be U15.
Okay. It's wild seeing two-handed girls. I never saw that until the last couple of years. There's a few of them throw it really good.
I know. I'm so jealous of how they throw the ball. I mean, I think it'll definitely help them on this pattern.
Yeah, for sure.
One thing I did notice the U18 girls were having a bit of a struggle with was that they were throwing it so slow, their balls were picking up so early.
Sure. It's got to be brutal, too, that everyone has to hit the transitions. You know, the U12s have to come to the U18s. The rev rate differences are huge. Ball speed really makes this tournament difficult. I love that they do that. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, we have a two-hander here on 45.
Wow.
Wow, looks great.
Great shot. It's really interesting to see how they play them compared to the guys. Oh, a few two-handers over here.
So far, it's more similar than I would have thought. I
Yeah,
mean, the girls
absolutely.
are standing a little bit further to the right, but not much.
Yeah, not much further. They're just pretty similar zones. It really makes you know, your moves pair to pair very interesting. You have to really keep an eye on this. And the guys that started on this pair were a little inside of that, so your transitions to your left rather than to your right. Probably a little different than what they saw down with the U12 boys or even the other girls. Crazy transitions, I'm sure. A lot of these kids probably haven't experienced anything like this.
No, probably not. And the one unfortunate thing, if you're used to being a girl bowling only with girls, you can usually miss left and it holds because there's not very many girls to the left of you.
Sure.
But these boys are all to the left of them.
Yeah.
So if they miss left, it's probably going to take off.
Yeah, eliminating that hold for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Now you're starting to see a lot of the asymmetric balls still rolling it up the that idea.
Shannon, so this is not on TV. We live stream every single SYC tournament here on SPI Live and on our Facebook page just for you guys to watch.
We wish every bowling event was on TV. That would be awesome. We need a Storm TV network. I would subscribe to that.
That would be nice.
Let's get that app going. Curving it here. Okay. Good spare. So game 5, you know, this last game of the block is always interesting because you got some people that are pressing to get some score, some people that are just kind of surviving, some that are just on the same wavelength as before. So you get a lot of interesting things. Cuts can do crazy things the last game.
And something that is important that I hope they all remember is that there is a grand total running here. Like, you can't give up even if you're out of the short.
Everything's got to be getting every single pin possible for the end of the week.
All right, let's see who some of these girls are in front of us. We have Olivia Titus on 47 from St. Louis, Missouri. Wow, she has already won 2 Eagles at the Youth Open Championships in Detroit. One for scratch singles and one for scratch all events.
That's impressive. Throws it great. Double the start.
She also wants to say hello to her mom, her sister, and her grandparents. Hopefully they're all watching. She's doing great.
lot of hook on this pair. It is still flying.
A lot of these girls are hooking at spares that are kind of in the middle of the lane. Like, I noticed they're using spare balls for 7 and 10s, but not much else.
Yeah, a little bit of what we talked about earlier. They're kind of curving at those middle spares are so difficult when there's this much flat, this much friction in some weird spots. Definitely got to go with the straight and hard plastic at those. I think that's a plastic ball on 48. I think she's using a
for her
plastic
strike ball?
Yeah, and it is having no problem hooking down lane there.
Wow. When spare balls start to hook, that's a little spooky.
Yeah, it gets a little bit of friction out there. I can't tell. I think it is. Whatever it takes to strike. Every ball's a strike ball if you try hard enough, right?
Honestly. That might be.
It's good spare.
Oh, is that an attention star?
It could be. I'm not sure. I have to get a better look. Zoe going a little more direct. Looks like a
that was
shinier
straight,
ball.
Yeah. Oh no, it's a T-zone.
Oh, it is? Okay.
I think so. That's a strategy for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, you can see Olivia, a little more tilt, a little more rotation. A lot easier for her to get the ball to the right around that spot and get it back. You know, when you're rolling it and you have to create a little more angle, it's so difficult to get it around the corner. It's such a fine line. You got to let that hand be a little more free on the side of the ball as the day goes by.
Sean asked, what cover stocks are we seeing them use? So, you know, with every ball that's going to be totally different, but I don't know. I'm seeing less urethane overall.
Yeah, for the girls, for sure. Yeah, it looks like a lot of bigger asymmetric balls. Let's see, looks like a Black Widow. I want to say 4.0 Pearl, and then I see some other big asims there, but I just don't think we'll see a ton of symmetric balls. Maybe the slower symmetric stuff. Rock Stars, maybe phase.
There's a Summit right there.
Yep, Summit. But yeah, for the most part, bigger asims and a lot of urethane. It's a really good shot there.
Yeah, we got an Origin EX down there too. So yeah, a lot of bigger balls still being used.
Definitely looking for balls that burn up a lot of their energy in the front part of the lane for sure. Do we have running totals?
Yes, I can look that up. All right, we're watching U15 girls right now. Let's see.
Oh, perfect. Awesome.
So we've got the leader here at plus 22.
Okay.
Candace Banty.
Score is definitely low.
Oh, that looks like they're missing one of her games, actually. Oh, wait.
Oh, yeah, after two. Some have 2 and some are 3. They're getting updated. They're getting there.
So it looks like...
Being plus is a great score right now, yeah.
Plus would be the goal. A lot are minus. It's really hard.
Yeah, they are flat and tough. They're playing really difficult.
Yeah, U15 boys, the
good break there.
Leader's at 72.
Okay.
And 10th is at minus 21. So, big spread.
Yeah, definitely. Managing the transition on this with all the different age groups. Whoever wins this or even leads this short pattern is going to earn every bit of that.
Looks like right now, the person going the best on the short would be Joshua Sachs at plus 111.
That's great.
That's
a really good score.
We have, yeah.
Very good.
I'd take plus 111 any day on a short pattern.
Morgan here. Into that 15 to 10 zone. Really good shot. Well, the good news for the girls, it looks like they're not far left, so maybe the 7 board being down won't affect them as much for sure.
Right.
Which is good, yeah. Later in the day, that's good for them. The boys, the higher rev rates, I would guess now they're probably into the 20-ish area. So they're probably going to see a little more of those effects than the girls will. Good spare shooters, too.
I think girls are always known as being
Inherently better
good
spare
spare
shooters.
shooters.
No comment, but you're right.
Yeah.
All right, Morgan up again on 48 here. Let's see if she can throw another good shot.
Wow.
That's a good shot. Little miss in, but a little bit of hold there. Got away with an 8. Nothing wrong with that. It's makeable.
Oh, Anthony did confirm that Ariana is throwing a spare ball. She just switched to two-handed.
Wow.
That is so
the
impressive.
last 2 weeks. That's awesome.
I guarantee you, if I switched to two-handed, you would not catch me at a tournament for a long time.
Be a lot of non-strikes for me.
Yeah.
Two weeks stay. I mean,
She's
that's
killing
awesome
it
to
for
get
that.
back in here and do that. Absolutely.
That's amazing.
Was there a reason for the switch, or did she just decide to just go for it? Anthony, if you have the answer to that.
See her mom back there. I might be able to ask her.
Wow, that was a very interesting big 4 there.
Yeah, Cameron, I would agree. You said that it's crazy how many boys are two-handed versus how many girls.
It's wild, yeah. You're seeing more and more and more. I mean, I remember even a couple of years ago there was one girl maybe, and now there's a ton of them. Yeah. It's good to see the evolution of the two-handed game just keeps going and going and going.
Yeah, probably in 5 years you're gonna see just as many girls.
Yeah, I bet they'll
assume.
be matched up. Yep,
Yeah.
I would agree with that for sure. I don't mind the plastic for Ariana here. I think maybe get another one, hit that one with surface, and keep a shiny one too. Give you a couple of options while she's learning and until she gets the speed up a little bit and learns to control the rev rate a bit. A couple of those would be a good idea. I used to drill every plastic ball on the market because I was convinced some hooked more than others, and they probably didn't, but I used to have a full arsenal just on plastic.
It's impressive.
Yeah. It's a good spare.
I wonder if there's less two-handed girls because it would be more likely for a girl to be highly rev dominant if she was two-handed.
Yeah, I completely agree for that. Probably a detriment to most of them, yeah.
Because I know a lot of girls are pretty matched.
Absolutely.
With their speed and their revs. And if you went two-handed, you'd have to throw it really hard.
Yeah, I mean, I think Nora Johansson from Sweden, I think she
Yes.
joined the women's tour this year, and she throws it fast.
She's amazing, but yes, throws it so
I
fast.
can't imagine it would be easy to be a rev-dominant two-hand female on the tour, yeah.
Yeah, it'd be tough.
That's a good point. Yeah, I didn't think about that. .49 Samantha. Great shot. You still want to use those balls that burn up some energy and get a little forward at the head pin, controlling them front to back still. Nothing too crazy yet. Maybe if we got into 7-8 games, we'd want to see the symmetric balls in the big loop, but still want to stick with the stronger stuff right now.
We got two girls on 45 and 46 that I think are standing a little too far left. Like their balls are almost coming back from the break point, but not
just
quite.
Not quite around it. Yeah.
Oh, that's so tough. That's what happens to me a lot on short is I start moving too far left.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
The fronts burn up, and if you don't have the rev rate or the right amount of rotation to get it back, you just get trapped into an even worse zone of light, heavy, light, heavy.
Yeah, there's nothing worse when it's in the pocket, but then the ball goes straight to the right.
Yeah, your ball's taking out the 10 pin is a slight issue.
Not ideal.
I've been there. I understand. Yeah, it's just I mean, what you lose in the front, you gain in the back. It's the same thing there. If it's hooking in the front, they're generally tighter down lane. If they're cleaner through the front, they're generally hooking more down lane. So that's key to ball motion and selecting your pieces there and lane play. And now, like, I'm sure you're seeing a lot of these shots where, you know, they're tugging it left, missing it left. They're so scared to get it out there to fall off that cliff. It's just natural to. Your brain tells you not to throw it there, and that's generally what happens.
Yep.
Great
You
spare.
overcorrect.
Yeah, absolutely. As much as you want to tell your brain not to do it, it does whatever it wants at the end of the day. That was much better. Much cleaner, less worried about the miss, and smash the spare.
That's kind of a hard spare.
That's a hard one to make. To make it like that, too.
I feel like the more pins you have out there for a spare, the harder your chance to get it getting.
That's a very good point. Yeah, great shot on 45
Had a
there.
really late 9 pin there on 45.
46. That's a good shot.
Think she appreciated
Seems
that
pretty
one.
thankful that that one got around the corner, yep.
We were waiting for a pin to get set up on 47.
9-10 conversion on 50. That was an awesome spare.
At 9-10.
9-10, yeah.
Bummer if she even left that
Yeah,
one,
leaving
but
it's
good thing she
an
picked it
adventure
up.
in itself, and then you have to make it. All right, Candace up on 46. See what she does here. Yeah, just a little bit outside of that spot. Just doesn't want to get up the hill. That was really good, though. That's definitely the right idea. I think she's doing the right thing there. I'm not sure what she's throwing. Is that a phase 2 maybe? Rockstar? I'm not sure.
It's hard to tell.
Looked like a symmetric ball, but that might have been like some information off of that, because that looked like that may have looked very good. You ever accidentally fall into great ball reaction? Like,
accidentally?
Yeah, a couple of times they'll like go to shoot a split, a washout or something, and it hits the 1-2 in the face. I'm like, oh, that's what I was doing. Occasionally, it happens occasionally.
We got Jessica Pierce on 46. Another strike on
Good
2
shot.
in a row.
It's like a Sub-Zero forge, so big, strong, symmetric ball.
Yeah, it's a pretty colored ball.
It is.
She would like to say hello to her friends Jade and Peyton. Oh, and she also plays volleyball.
Oh, wow. Fun fact, in 5th grade, Knowles' Ninjas won the Miller Elementary volleyball tournament. That is a true fact.
That is quite a fun
I have
fact.
a gold medal that
Heck yeah.
shows that I won that.
Wow,
So,
you're a multi-sport athlete.
you know, that was the height of my athletic career, winning that one. Nothing
for
will ever
now,
come
for
close. Right, yeah. You know, the tour title would be second. We got that trophy.
Yeah,
That's
next
what
year's
matters.
U.S. Open.
A major, perfect.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not greedy.
Let's go straight for the major.
I'll take the Lucy. That'd be fine. I'll take any win.
That'd be fun too. Wow.
It's,
Autumn is throwing the ball so well.
yeah, she has a very, very good release. I just think that ball is just retaining too much energy. Just a little too aggressive off the spot. I like the straighter angle. My guess is she's throwing the symmetric ball to help get it through the front a little bit easier, but downfall is just a little too much down lane motion. It's a great spare though.
Well, I just took notes. She kind of executed that spare perfectly.
Yeah, that was perfect.
Wow, 45, we just had the 2-pin trip forward.
Yeah, another one. That's been happening on that pair. These kids are great spare shooters. It's awesome. I was horrendous at this age, I'm sure. I just tried to throw as many strikes as I possibly could.
Yeah, helps you not have to worry about spares.
It does. Team, what'd the kids say? Team 8-bagger. If you throw 8 strikes a game and 3 opens, it's 220.
Oh, gosh.
It's so hard to get to. I understand the theory of what they're trying to do to kind of jam it up the lane with speed to get it through the front, but they're just still so flat down lane.
Yeah.
It's hard to get the ball to face up to the pocket with those type of bowling balls. Good spare. No harm done there on that spare.
Wow. She
Oh, no, I didn't
needs to
see
get
that.
out of that ball.
Yeah, it just feels like she's having to do so much work to get it to do the right thing. It's
It
just
looks like it's a shiny face too.
yeah, it's just kind of putting her swing in a phone booth, which is never where you want to be. I would like to see a little further left with that, a little more rotation. But I mean, this pair has been brutal all day.
Oh yeah.
And when-
Okay, I can see
That was good.
That
Yeah,
ball
there we go.
was good. That was perfect.
That was nice. I think, you know, from the way they started on this pair in practice, the 15 minutes, they all looked like they were already into, 13-ish to start, which just, they're never going to develop to the right and just stay hard the whole day if you don't take the time to break them down. And we see the effects of that for sure. Oh, another trip two on 40. That pair is on fire for trip twos.
Wow, nice.
Yeah, let's see what Zoe does here.
Oh,
Yeah, it's a little bit out. It's okay. I like the move to the rollier ball for sure. Just a little miss right. Actually, a good swing. Powerful swing. All these kids are way more powerful than I am. This is unfortunate. I'm getting old.
it's because they've learned from all of our mistakes.
We'll go with that. Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like everybody's kind of trapped. They all trying to throw it to the friction spot that just never developed on this pair. I like that they're not afraid to experiment. You know, a lot of us will see 9 when they're tough and just, okay, you know, we're going to stick here and just make spares all game. It's good to see them being progressive and trying to find strikes out there. I like that.
All the dads around here looking very intense. Really focusing on ball motion out there.
See, I'm so happy that my son's not a bowler. For me and for him, I'm thankful. Great spare there, Zoe. Oh, staying clean. That's good. I mean, while you're searching, let's make your spares and leave yourself something you can make, and then get lined up, catch a double, and 200 is a great score.
Yeah, especially on this pattern, 200 is perfect.
Absolutely.
Even 190.
Yeah, 190 would be wonderful. That was a really good shot there. Is she? You can tell she's new, but when she throws it good, her hand's in a great spot at the bottom.
Wow, 46
There we
and
go.
48. Those are great balls.
2 strikes at a time. Great shot.
Wow, there are some girls just right out of view on 49 and 50 that are throwing the ball so good.
Adam, I try to hit the gym. Don't be mean. Just kidding. I'm pretty sure that's Adam, one of the owners here at Royal Scott, just being nice to me as always. Thank you for hosting, Adam, and letting me have a chance to come here and talk and practicing every day and seeing your lovely face every day. Thanks a lot for everything that you do. Little miss in there. It's okay. 9 is okay.
Wow, I love
good.
the way that Jessica is throwing that ball.
Yeah, I liked a little bit of loft over the front. I like that a lot.
Yeah, it's like
It's a smart play right
working
now.
pretty nicely for her.
With how much friction there already is on these lane beds, and if you are a bowler who tends to drive it into the fronts, I mean, it's just worse and worse and worse. I mean, lofting it a few feet definitely is going to help you out here. Oh, no. Our streak of black clouding bowlers is
Still going.
continuing, unfortunately.
So sad.
That's okay. We take Brooklyns when they're hard. Nothing wrong with that. That was a really good shot. That was a good move there from Autumn. So what is your typical move off of like a wrap 10? What's your go-to?
Oh my gosh.
Sorry to put you on the spot.
Off a wrap 10?
Yeah, let's go 2 wrap 10s in a row. What's our move?
I don't know. I might move like 1 and 1.
Okay, yeah, just
Or I might
parallel
just
it in.
throw it better.
You know, throwing it better is the key move.
My toxic trait
sure.
is every time that happens or I leave like a flat 10, I'm like, oh, I
Yeah.
just throw it better. I don't need to move.
Oh yeah.
And then I probably should have moved because flat 10 usually leads to 7-10. At least a wrap 10, yeah, that's usually
Absolutely.
just like a little parallel. What do you do?
Yeah. I don't want to answer.
Why?
Throw it better is usually number 1.
Okay, yeah.
But
yeah.
after 2 is usually a ball change to me.
Really?
I mean, just on the left, we can't really make the move right. We could parallel, sure. 1 and 1s are fine. 2 and 1 sometimes, but most of the time for us, it's ball burning up at our feet, and we're so confined to a certain area on the left that it's usually a good idea to just kind of get out of the ball, or you grind it out if you only need to shoot 200. I'm just in there trying to get 9. Yeah, in general, for me, that would be a ball change. But I mean, like I said before, we're fine-tuning all these urethane balls and those, but we have so many of one ball with different layouts that I can get a board out of a different one. We're just we're not doing anything too drastic.
Ball changing is so scary when you're in a tournament like this.
Sure,
It's
yeah,
like if you're
sure.
on a 210 pace, I don't know. Sometimes you're terrified of, what if that ball changes worse?
100%. Yeah.
But sometimes it's the only way to win.
Yeah,
Is
you have to be progressive with it.
balls.
You have to make the change. Yep.
I think that's the biggest difference between pros and amateurs is they
Sure.
usually know exactly when to switch based off a good shot.
Yeah, usually before it's even
Yeah.
necessary.
Before
Yeah.
something bad happens, they'll
Absolutely.
switch balls.
Yeah, but it's you gotta, as a bowler, you start to gain like intuition after a while, and as soon as the thought creeps in your head like, oh, I need to move, you're probably late. You probably should have moved before that thought, but it's good. It's a good sign to feel that way. But I see a lot of people fight that, and sometimes you're wrong, but most of the time, you trust what you feel and what you see. We're all looking for feel. And the second that my brain tells me, I'm probably a frame behind it already, and that's why guys, the guys at the top are so hard to beat.
Right.
They're seeing that, while their ball's striking, as opposed to 7 pinning 7 times in a row.
Right.
But it's a really good shot on 45. Candish throws it really good. All right, Zoe. Zoe moved into the rollier ball. Get lucky. There we go. No shame in a Brooklyn. No shame.
Hey, if she just says that a few more times.
Yeah,
that's
I'll take 5 more of those gladly.
That's not bad at all.
When they're this hard, you are just trying to hit one of the 3 pins in the front.
Yeah. Just hopefully not the first one in.
Yeah, hopefully not. There you go. Good double from Candace to end the game. I mean, I think she's got a great potential as a two-hander. Her hand is in such a good spot. That's incredible. 2 weeks. Wow. It's like 31 years for me, and my hand doesn't get there a lot. So, there's hope. Senior tour, 2035. I'll be ready to go. I hope that's not the right number, but
Yeah, I was gonna say there's no way 2035.
4. I got 16 years. 2040. 2040 PBA 50 Rookie of the Year. Incoming. All right, good 8. Broke up the split.
Olivia is matching her socks to her jersey, which
Oh, wow.
I'm sure is bringing her good luck.
That's awesome.
I love the vibes.
Is that a thing? Maybe I need to start doing that.
In high school, I used to wear bowling socks, but the colors wouldn't match my jersey.
Oh, okay.
Back then, I could have swore it brought me good luck, but I'm sure it doesn't.
Hey, if it convinces you mentally that it does, that's all that matters. Everyone always asks me, do you have any superstitions? I'm like, no, of course not, but I'll wipe my shoe the same amount of times, wipe my ball off the same for
Yep.
800 shots in a row, but no superstitions at all. I'm sure if I stop doing it, it won't affect me mentally in any way.
Every time I forget to wipe the bottom of my shoe before I go up there, I think about it during my third step, and I throw a bad ball every time.
Yeah. I plant, and I still wipe my shoe 20 times, and people are like, how do you have footing problems planting? Don't judge me.
You'd be surprised.
That's a good shot. A little light, but that was pretty good off her hand. I like that shot.
Ooh, that's a little in.
Yeah, a little bit.
Hey,
It's okay.
up Brooklyn. How nice.
It's a lot of change of direction with the symmetric ball, but I like the speed. I like going firm up the lane. I mean, you got to play what the lane gives you. It's not always the right answer.
Yeah. At least she's not leaving washouts.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a tough spare from Morgan here. Hopefully she can hit it. That's a hard spare to shoot on this right now. Very difficult.
That spare is so hard, especially on sport shots.
Yeah, when they're
picking that up
flat.
with the plastic ball, really
Yeah,
hard.
that's insane work. It is a tough spare.
Oh, what ball is that?
I know it's not, but it looks like an uproar. I know it's probably not that. Maybe sensor solid, maybe? Yeah, it looks like a sensor solid. Alright, let's see how she shoots the spare. Hard and straight with the plastic. There we go. Love to see it.
Oh, thank God that was a
Great
plastic ball. I
spare.
totally thought she missed that
Yeah,
to
when
the
she
left.
lined up, I'm like, oh my,
Wow.
this is interesting. No, great. That's what you have to do when they're this hard.
I apologize
Great
to Zoe
spray.
for doubting you. That was crazy.
Just clarify, that's Nicole doubting you, Zoe.
It was all me.
Just let you know that. There we go. That's a little better there. She can get that plastic ball to curve. It looks like Kimberly is a little further right. She's kind of trapped in that area. She doesn't quite have the rev rate to get left of that. She's kind of forced to be there and fight it in the hardest part of the pattern.
Wow.
That's a really good shot, yeah. Little move left. Hit that one a little bit harder. That was a good shot. See, it's you know, a lot of people say it's a bad thing to hit up on the ball, and in general it definitely is. But if you're longer at the release with the ball, you can kind of get away with those up hits a little bit more. If you're shoving it into the floor and up hitting it, all bad. But if you're longer, like she was there, she's longer, she hit a little bit harder, no problem with that. It's a really good shot there from Autumn. Great ball.
Autumn's dad is so pumped over here.
Does
About
he
the
feel-
strike.
Oh yeah, he is. I love it.
Awesome.
This is great. I like that move. That was a good move from Morgan. That's a good shot.
Yeah,
A little
her
in,
ball
but
is
that's
right
okay.
there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's great ball reaction to be found at this point in the day for them right now. No, it's just,
Especially on this pair.
yeah, hit the one. Maybe Olivia's doing pretty well with that, but I just don't think there's a lot of good out there. Ah, it's unfortunate. All right, I'm calling the spare. We're breaking the curse. Zoe's sparing it.
I hope you're right.
I hope so too. Good spare. Oh, that was close.
That's close.
It's okay. Catch a double in the 10th, get 190 out of this game. Nothing wrong with that at all.
The high on this pair, I think, is 222.
Oh, someone did have 220.
Well, Olivia could.
Oh, sure.
That's
She
her
can punch
max.
out. Yeah. Yeah. This has not been a fun pair the entire day. Brutal.
Looking around, there's not any super high scores this
Looks
game.
like 2 teams, the highest in this group of 7 or 8 pairs here.
Well, it should be relieving to the girls that feel like they're
Definitely.
lost. Oh, this spare is going to be tough.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
That was awesome.
That was amazing.
It's fair. Yeah, scoring pace can be so relative too, because if you're on a pair with, some people who are bowling really well, you get that anxiety and it makes you think, oh no, the scores are really high, and then you look around and everybody's just kind of hanging around, pacing. It's a good idea not to get caught up in the scoreboard for many reasons. That's definitely one of them.
Oh, yeah.
You see it. Looks like she missed that one a little bit at the bottom. But that was still a really good shot. Good location.
Wow, Amelia on lane 49 just threw a strike. That was a great ball. She does it so well.
Yeah, it's a lot of response down lane from Morgan there. It makes me so happy to see these two-handed kids throwing plastic at spares. I'm so proud.
Yeah.
Alright, Olivia. I'm not sure of the other games. We missed a couple of games there, but this would definitely be the first 200 I've seen on this pair. Alright, really good spare there. Yeah, that was much longer. You get 7 or 8? Oh no, I cursed it again. Alright, that's enough. I'm out of the booth.
That's crazy.
I'm officially fired as
499.
commentator. Me and Rob Stone should not talk while people are bowling. That's okay. That's
That
a
was
great
brutal.
game.
Yeah, that was a good
Nothing wrong with that one. Just outside of 6-7 down lane. Ball just does not want to wiggle from down there.
As we're about to finish up here, the next stream will start at 2:30 on our medium pattern. Ooh, is she gonna get that? Close.
Alright, see the move Zoe makes here. That's okay. Thank you, spare. Get out of here with the high 180 and move on to the medium pattern.
Yeah, 180 won't be too bad.
No, that's just fine. I totally get the theories. I understand exactly what everyone's trying to do. It's easy from our perspective here, and I bowl for a living, so it's a little bit easier to think of the things that I would do here. But you got to put yourself in these kids' shoes too. That they don't quite have that experience, but they're doing the right things. They're making progressive moves. They're trying different balls, doing things with their hand. It's good to see everybody experimenting, trying to find the best way possible rather than just settling for, 7-8 spare every frame. Yeah, good spare.
Yeah, the more they do these SYCs, the more confident they get with moves. It's pretty cool to see.
Absolutely, for sure. I mean, they're so far advanced by the time they get to college and to adults now, just from having all this experience. I would like to see the same zone here, but a little more rotation, so it doesn't see the front as hard. Let's see what shot she makes here.
Oh, she pulled that one.
Yeah, it's okay. You know what? That is perfectly fine.
189
Good enough.
is not bad.
Absolutely not. This pair was brutal today.
Yeah, we'll see if the medium pattern is any friendlier to these kids, and we will see you all back in about 2 hours and 5 minutes for the medium pattern.